Hello, YouTube, and welcome to the FPL Pubcast on the newly named FPL Pubcast channel. This is a weekly live stream we do every Wednesday at 6 o'clock where we look back on, usually we will look back on our previous game week. We're only going to do that briefly today because obviously it's been quite a while now, isn't it, lads, since the end of game week 3. And preview the upcoming game week. So this week we're going to be having a brief look back at Andrew and Darius's teams from last week because they weren't on with us last week. Then we're going to have a brief chat about some of the things that happened over the course of the last few days, like Ange Postecoglou being put in charge at Forest. We're going to have a debate about DefCon points and whether 5 at the back is a viable option, which was inspired by Andrew's latest video. Then we're going to give our predictions and have a look at our teams for next week, including Trig's updated wildcard draft, and maybe do a bit of a Q&A towards the end. How are you all, lads? Good? Andrew?
Yeah, I'm not so bad. Thanks, yourself.
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. Looking forward to this one. Trig, you all right, mate?
Yeah, tip top. All ready to go.
Yep. And Darius, there. Is it cold, mate? You're like cramped up in your hoodie again.
Yeah, I mean, the weather here is still pretty bang ordinary, but yeah, and I've also just woken up, so I'm a little bit cold from that. But other than that, we're good to go.
Awesome. All right, so that's just a couple of bits of admin before we start. So all money raised from super chats and ad revenue basically from this live stream goes to charity, specifically to Mind, who do a lot of work on mental health and well-being in the UK, and Street Child United, who globally do a lot of great work with homeless children. You can also find links to both of the charities in the video description below. And if you would like to join our Pubcast mini league, we would love you to do so. We've got about, say, 300 odd people in there now. The code is S3DHWZ. That's S3DHWZ. You can also click in the link in the description that will sign you up automatically on the FPL website. So just before we start, let's have a quick say a quick hello to the people in the chat. Hi to Podner. How you doing, mate? Our brilliant moderator. Good evening to Chris Woodstock. Kevy, hello, mate. Claire FPL, as usual, very welcome. I am 1974. Gary stacking the lineup in his ranked favour. Perks of being channel host. Yeah, basically, yeah. Get the guys on towards the bottom of the league. Hello to Sparta John. Hi to who else we got? Got a lot of other names here. Hello to Beanie Man, and hello to Channel Man Getty FPL. I hope you're well, mate. David Fawn and Genius Gamer. That's a nice name, isn't it? Double Pivot. We've got Shane and Kieran here, by the looks of it. FPL Discomfort Kieran and Shane from the Double Pivot. Great to have everyone here. All right, so we will start off by having a look at a brief look over Andrew and... Oh, sorry, before I get into that, I always forget. I've got this slide in there. Please do like to help get the stream out there. Please subscribe if you're new around here, and please hit the join button if you'd like to check out channel memberships. Okay, so we'll start with Andrew's team from game week 3. I'll quickly read through it, Andrew, and then just ask you. We're not going to spend too long talking about it. I'll just literally ask you to tell me how you feel it went, because you were on wildcard. That's right.
Yes, I was.
Yes,
that is correct. And it, yeah. Go on, run down the team name. I know how much the audience love it when they get a list of names.
Vicario 3, Porro 4, Livramento 6, Cucurella 6. Cunha now yellow flagged with 2, captain. Sar 7 flagged. Kudos 2, Barnes 1, and then Wood 2, Pedro 9, and Haaland 9. And then you got Dubravka, Reinders, Agadou on the bench, along with Senesi with a nasty placing, considering he got 14 points. So yeah, just a quick feeling about how the wild card went, mate. I'm assuming not great.
Well, I mean, it got more points than my non-wildcard team, which is all you can ask for, really. You know, quite often that doesn't happen when I play my wildcard chip. Quite often I get a red arrow as well, and I got a green arrow. So, you know, it's all good. However, when you're ranked 9.9 million in the world at the start of the game week, getting a green arrow isn't that difficult. I mean, what can you say? I got Sarr injured, Cunha, you know, I was a bit unlucky. But I don't feel like the Bruno Fernandes owners got lucky. I just think it was a bit of a shame that Cunha got injured because I think the points were there for the taking. Senesi, I mean, I'm glad I've got him, even if he's on my bench last week, because everybody wants him now and it's just going to be more money in the bank for me. But yeah, I mean, you know, my defence did well, got 19 points from my back four. I mean, what can you say? Pedro, I was a bit disappointed that I got rid of Bowen because he obviously did well. But at the same time, so many people on double Forest defence, even missing out on Bowen's points, did me a world of good because it took so many points off everybody else. So, yeah, I'm happy enough. It's not ideal, not great, but it could be a lot worse.
Do you have any regrets about not holding on for another week? So you could have done it over the international break with all the...
Well, as we are going to discuss later, a lot of the hype this week is around the defensive contributions and whether to pivot from a back three to a back five. I will be arguing in favour of doing just that, but it's perhaps a good thing I can't wildcard into that in case it does go wrong and my season was to fall into such disrepair it could not be saved. Sometimes, you know, when I get an idea in my head, I get excited and I'm like, oh, this is going to save my season. Then it never does, of course. So maybe it's for the best I can't wildcard just yet this week, and I'm going to have to get there gradually.
Say hello to FPL Punk, who's just come in the chat. Trig, you obviously been keeping more of a close eye on what the wildcard draft looks like for this game week. Is there much overlap with this, or is it very different, the wildcard template that's formed this week?
It's not too dissimilar. Not too dissimilar at all, really.
Really? Okay.
The main problem he's got there is the two injuries, obviously. But yeah, no, it's pretty similar. I mean, Haaland's very popular this week. I guess Chris Wood is no longer popular, is he? But that will change next week, probably.
Well, maybe should be now.
So, Livramento, Cucurella. Yeah, it's a decent team, isn't it?
I was just going to say, what I would say to that is the injuries might actually help me this week because now I will have to play Senesi and Reinders. And then, it means I won't end up with the situation of Senesi with 14 points on my bench or Reinders when he gets a hat-trick against Man United. I won't be missing out on that one as well. Sometimes a couple of injuries isn't the worst thing if you've got a bench to cover it. So maybe this is working in my favour.
Do we know if they're both definitely out? I think Sarri's, isn't he? He was a hamstring.
We don't definitely know.
Don't definitely know.
Yeah.
All right, we don't want to spend too long on these because it was like 10 days ago now. Let's have a look at the units team. So identical on points, 51. But Darius obviously didn't use his wild card. He's got Sells in goal on 2, Milenkovic with 1, Diorf with 10, Collins with 3, and then Cunha captain, another unfortunate Cunha captain with 2, Bruno with 10, Reinders 2, Sarr with 7, Gapco 3, and then Haaland 9 and Watkins 2 with Dubravka, Evanilson, Dorgan, De Kuipia on the bench. Dean, I mean, I watched your watch-along of the Man United game. It's one of the best watch-alongs I've watched for a long time. The emotions you went through in that.
It was that watch-along was hard work. Let's be honest. I was all over the place because it started off so well. Cunha was involved in everything, and I was like, we're on here. It's inevitable at some point, very shortly, that Cunha is going to explode, get lots of goals, and I'm going to be on a massive green arrow. And then he got injured, and that was it was gut-wrenching. So, and then obviously Man United scored, and it looked like it was a Bruno assist. And originally, if I hadn't bought Cunha, I probably would have captained Bruno. And then it turned out that Casemiro had actually headed it, and it was an own goal. So the own goals scored more goals than anyone else for Man United so far. But,
there's a little bit of a problem with your sound. I don't know if it's your gain or if maybe your sweatshirt's rubbing up against the mic. Did you guys hear that?
Yeah, it sounds like crap. It's worse than hearing my own voice back through his monitor speakers.
Is it better now?
Yeah, it sounds a bit better, mate. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. I'm not sure what's going on there. That's weird. I have it setting on my thing a bit different. Yeah. So unfortunately, Bruno looked like he was going to get an assist, and then he didn't. And then I was like, I don't know how I feel about that because I still had Bruno in my team. And then the game went on. We scored. Then Burnley scored. Then we scored. Then Burnley scored. And then we got a penalty that was ruled out. We then had a penalty that was given through VAR. The game had everything that you could ask for. And being a Man United fan, as usual, we get put through the absolute ringer. And then Bruno gets fortunate, lucky, I'm not sure what you want to call it, but he gets the penalty. And, I mean, he makes up for the week before where he blazed it over the bar. Thankfully, he watched for the referee this week, so he didn't back into him, so that didn't put him off. And then...
Try putting your game down a bit, mate. You're still getting the issue. It sounds like you're on a base. It sounds like you're on a base night out or something, and there's like bass going up.
How about now?
No, it's the same. I would try unplugging your microphone.
Yeah, try
it back in.
Andrew, I'll come to you while Dean sorts his mic out. What do you reckon of his team? Would you have been tempted to hit the wild card here? I mean, Trig didn't have a Trig ads. Would you have been tempted in?
Oh, absolutely. I'd be wildcarding this monstrosity. I mean, you've got two Forest defenders against Arsenal, and then they've got Big Ange in charge. You've got De Kuiper's doing now. Dorgu's no longer first choice. You've got a West Ham defender who, fair enough, he's had a half-decent game, but like West Ham aren't proven. Brentford are conceding goals to everyone. You know, Collins is all right, but, you know, unless he's a DefCon daddy, he's not going to do much, really, that you couldn't get from better and cheaper players. Obviously, in midfield, he's got the two injuries. Watkins has done nothing so far this season. I know Darius is planning on clinging on to him for a while in the hope he gets good. But I think you could easily just get a player in that is already doing well, who has good games. Someone like Joao Pedro already has good games. He's doing well. And Watkins, will he be good? Who knows? Maybe they're playing to get Emery sacked because they're fed up of his ways. You just don't know. Something's not right up the Villa. Maybe they just can't handle the heartbreaking death of the legendary Ozzy Osbourne, and they're in a state of mourning. But I think if he relies on Watkins this weekend, it will be a Black Sabbath.
Actually, is it better now?
Speak a bit more.
So I actually don't mind my team. I was looking at it over the international break, and I've looked at -8 this week as well, obviously to fix the two injuries in Cunha and Sarr. But the more I think about it, the more I don't mind it. And I actually think that potentially the sacking of Nuno might actually make this week a lot better week to own Forest defence than what the first 3 weeks were, because there's going to be some sort of response. Either Ange is going to be thrown to the wolves and he's going to get destroyed, and it's going to look like Ange Ball's going to be sacked within 3 games, or Forest are going to pull off one of the upsets of the season, going to go there and play out a 0-0 draw. And then all of a sudden, my team that looks like a basket case all of a sudden looks amazing, and we're all sitting here next week going, the D-Unit's team doesn't need a wild card after all when it scores 100 points this week. And my Haaland captain, not triple captain, comes in with a hat trick. Bruno gets a couple of returns. Cunha sits there, comes off the bench and scores in what is going to be a thrilling Manchester derby, and it's going to finish 4-3 or 3-3, something like this. And all my players go absolutely bananas. I'm here for it. And Aston Villa are going to go to that Everton team that have looked really porous defensively. And Ollie Watkins is going to pull his finger out of his ass and bring a brace. And Dean's forward line is going to look better than the João Pedro monster that's come back from Brazil, feeling a bit leggy on the plane. Maybe he gets a bit scared because there's snakes at the back of the plane that scare a couple of lives out of him, and we're sitting here having a very different conversation next week.
I mean, it could happen, but Rangers could score 10 goals. Anything could happen. But we're talking about what's realistic, Darius, and I would say this team will realistically continue to perform at an 8.5 million level.
Getty FPL saying who do you reckon the best SAR replacements? Trig, I'll come to you first. Any general thoughts? Guess it depends if you want to go up or down, doesn't it? Darius, I'd say your mic sounds better at some times, but then we're still getting it at other times. So I don't know. It literally sounds like you're knocking against your mic. I don't know. Trig.
I would have wildcarded this. He's only got one playing defender this week, and that's Diouf against Tottenham, who could get attacking returns. I mean, the rest of them. I'm going to play any of those defenders. Brentford are playing Chelsea. You got Brighton going to get beat by Bournemouth. You got Dorgu won't even probably play, and they're playing Man City. And you got Milenkovic against Arsenal. It's a disaster in defence. And then you got 2 injuries in midfield. It's just your defence, really. I mean, the injuries don't matter too much.
What about SAR replacements, Trig?
He could just play defenders, but he can't because his defenders are so rubbish, aren't they? SAR defenders.
4-3-3.
There are probably at least 10 potential replacements. I'm on wildcard this week, and I've been looking at all. There's just so many. You've got Kudos, you've got Simmons from Tottenham, just untold amounts. You've got the Everton, 3 from Everton that you could pick. That's 5. You've got Semenyo if you've got enough money. There's Anderson at Forest, although he's probably off the table now, isn't he? But there are just so many. Even Arias of Wolves, I reckon's a bit of a sneaky little differential to put in there. There's just loads and loads of choices.
How about you,
loads
Andrew?
of choices.
How about you, Andrew?
Well, what I would do is actually ask Darius if he was picking a team from scratch, how many of these players would he have in it? And if it's more than, if it's not that many, why is he afraid of wildcarding? You could wildcard and build up your transfers for another one in 5 or 6 weeks' time.
Darius?
So, how many of these would you start with now? If you had to, would you have Sells or Milenkovic or Diouf or Dorgu or De Kuyper? Would you have any of them?
So
would you have Cunha? Would you have Sarr? Would you have Reinders?
In the forward line, completely happy with the forward line. For the next 4 weeks, no issues there at all. Harlan, Watkins, and even Ilson, I think it'll be fine. I think I'll be shown in the long run over those next 4 weeks that they're all really good picks. Bruno, I've got no issue with. Cunha, believe it or not, is probably going to be involved in the derby. So let's just take it on fact that he's been in training. He's been posting on social media, which suggests to me that he will be fine for Saturday, Sunday, whenever that game is. So I'm not overly worried about him. And then outside of the Liverpool game, I think Cunha will be fine for Man United. So, and I think as soon as he gets that first goal, he'll be up and running and away we go. Reindeers, I would probably not have if I was on wildcard. I'd probably have another cheap enabler that I do like the look of. Sarr, again, it's another one of those ones. If Sarr is only going to be a couple of weeks, I think I'll actually hold him because realistically, I still think that he'll be the best 6.5 million midfielder in the game long term. So if I don't have to sell him, I'll just keep him and wait for him to come back. Gakpo will be fine, and I'd still have him on wildcard as my Liverpool attacker this week. Long term, he could be an issue, but for the short term, I think Gakpo will be fine the next couple. Defense is where obviously there's a few issues. So Dorgu, I wouldn't have. De Kuyper, as we'll see for my team this week, I already don't have because he's done nothing and there's just better options at that price point. Diouf, I've got no issues with at all. I think Diouf will be probably the best. He'll be like the Robinson of last year from Fulham. Diouf will be the highest scoring assist maker in the game this season. From what I've seen the first 3 games, he's going to average an assist every 3 weeks, I reckon, at the minimum. So I'm quite happy playing him. Collins, I'm just not sure about Brentford. There hasn't been enough data from their first 3 games. It's really hard to read how they're going to go. They've looked really good at home. I mean, he would have had an assist in the last game if it wasn't for Shard blasting that penalty. So I'm not overly disappointed with him, but if I'd had the choice between him and Lacroix, based on how Palace have started, I'd probably have gone with him instead of Collins. And then it's really the double up Nottingham Forest defence. Now, the plan was always to sell double Nottingham Forest defence, or at least one of them, in game week 7 for an Arsenal defender. That plan hasn't changed, and I still think that Milinkovic will be perfectly fine this week, next week, and in game week 6. So for that reason, I've got no issue with him. So as I said, the best time to wildcard for me is after the second international break at the minimum, because then we'll see what all the new signings, how they fit into their teams, who's getting rotated because of Europe. There's so many things that you didn't know, Andrew, when you did yours, and Trig doesn't know when he's doing his, and you're picking these players thinking they're going to be playing, but next thing you know, Maresca Roulette, and Trig should know this more than anyone, Maresca does not like playing players 3 games a week. That is a fact. If you go back and look at the Europa League last season, they will literally sit there, play on a weekend, and he'd play a different team in midweek. And when it got to the latter stages of the Europa League and that, all weird with Maresca Roulette. So, and then we don't even need to talk about Pep Roulette. And we've got Liverpool Roulette about to begin as well, with Europe coming in as well. So many different quandaries. Even Nottingham Forest have literally 2 different teams they can field, one on the weekend, one midweek. These things we just don't know. So wildcarding now for me was never an option. And anyone that did, I wish you luck. And I'm just going to say, I'll be here in 4 weeks' time when you go, oh my God, I've got so many rotation issues. And you wonder why I didn't play mine. I just took a few hits. That's why, baby. That's why.
In 5 weeks' time, we'll all have 5 transfers banked up from not having to make any because we've got the right players. And you'll be another 200 points further off the pace. So, why not just wildcard and then save your transfers? Like you say, the rotation roulette, Haaland's going to play every week. Salah's going to play every week. Gakpo's going to play every, 66% of minutes. Fernandes is going to play every week. We know who's going to play. Chelsea, we've only got one decent striker, so Joao Pedro's going to be fine. We know Cole Palmer will play most of the time. Cucurella will play all the time. Like, these aren't issues, especially if you get a proper bench in with players that actually play, then you're going to be fine with the wild card. I feel like what you're doing is risking probably about maybe 200 points is an exaggeration, but you're risking a good 100 points on holding off on a wild card because you're not confident in saying who you think is going to do well in the future. And I feel that's a shame.
Yeah, I've just doing a quick poll to see if Darius should wildcard. 68% saying yes at the minute, Darius. So I'll let that run for a couple more minutes. Let's move on to some. Go on, man.
Before we move on, what I would say, Darius, is I have noticed an increasing reliance on this card of yours. And I'm actually starting to wonder if the reason for your lack of decisiveness is because you can't make a decision for yourself anymore. You need the card to tell you what to do. Maybe this is what's happened. The card has led you down the 8.5 million path, when what you need to do is burn the card and get back to being the D unit we all know and love. The daring unit, the danger unit, daredevil unit.
Ironically, the card said I should wildcard, but I disagree with it. So the D unit's thinking is actually overruling it this week. I did consider it. I honestly did consider it. But then I thought to myself, there's a reason why I always wanted a wildcard when I wanted a wildcard, and why I'm not afraid to take hits. Because, yes, the team probably does need a little bit of work, and I'm still very open to a -4, even a -8 this week. And I still think potentially that's better off than sitting there going with a completely new team when everything that I think I might know, I'm basing off 3 game weeks of data, and I just don't think that's an intelligent move. Whereas I could sit there, take a -8 and roll with these players, then if it doesn't work, then I can wildcard when I know a bit more information. Just seems a lot more secure.
I would say the only reason to save the wild card is if you're planning to get rid of Haaland and get Saka and Palmer back when they're fit again. But otherwise, I don't. And nothing you're saying can't be fixed without like a couple of transfers. Why not wild card now? Get an extra 100 points in the bank and then take a -8 in 5 weeks if you need it.
Right, lads, of ending the poll, it's actually got quite close in the end. 56% saying yes and 43% no. So I think you talked your way around there. So lads, I only wanted to mention this briefly, but obviously Ange Postecoglou, what does he always say? I'll come to my impression in a minute. Obviously, he's gone to Forest, not exactly renowned when he was at Spurs for being a defensive manager. I mean, what advice would you give to someone like me who's got, who have I got? Morello, Sells, and Anderson. Am I on for an absolute... Should I be wildcarding to get rid of them? Trig, I'll come to you first for that one, mate.
No, if you've got them, you hold them, I think. He's not going to change it straight away, is he? I mean, we don't know how they're going to react. They might be really annoyed that they've lost their manager. They might kind of play rubbish. Who knows? We just don't know, do we? So if you don't know, why change it? If you've got a free transfer, though, it would be very tempting to go to a Palace defender, I think, this week and get rid of, so especially if you've got double Forest defence, get rid of one of them and get a Palace defender, and would probably be the thing that most people are doing. As for the attack, we just don't know. I mean, Chris Wood's not going to last long, probably. But I think he's been brought in to win them the Europa League, hasn't he? So maybe he's probably going to do what he did last season. I mean, the league form's going to go to shit, and he's going to, it's going to be a disaster, I think. They're not going to win the Europa League anyway. And their league form's going to suffer. And I think there'll be a lot of rotation. They brought in half the Botafogo team came in. They should have got the Botafogo manager, because they pretty much are that team now. They've got about 5 of them. And some of these players were brought in against the wishes of the last manager, weren't they? So it could cause a bit of trouble in the dressing room as well, I think. But it's going to be interesting. Yeah, it'll be very interesting. It's livened up the kind of Premier League a bit, hasn't it? It's a lot of intrigue to talk about.
Yeah, Andrew, your thoughts? I mean, I'm thinking about keeping, because I know they've got Arsenal this weekend, but then they've got, is it Burnley and Sunderland 2 weeks after? I mean, surely even Postecoglou can't, destroy the defence so much that they have to be sells.
I don't know why everybody is being so dismissive of Ange Postecoglou like he's some sort of joke manager. He won the Europa League last season. He got Tottenham from 17th into the Champions League. I feel that's an achievement that is being completely overlooked. And he's a good manager. He's maybe a bit too attacking, but at the same time, that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad from an FPL perspective. And if the big problem, I think, is going to be what we saw last night with Serbia. They were playing a higher line, and Milenkovic got absolutely exposed. And now if Ange Postecoglou plays that high line with Milenkovic, there could be a lot of goals conceded. But I don't think they're going to concede any extra goals this weekend than they would have done with Nuno Santo, if I'm honest. Personally, the only reason I'd be wildcarding Forest defenders out, well, Forest players out right now, would be if I was about 8.5 million in the world. I think if I got a double Forest defence and I'm 8.5 million, I'd definitely be playing that wildcard. But no, I mean, like, the plan for everyone was always, keep them until game week 7, then get rid. I don't see any reason why that would have changed because of a new manager, especially for like someone like me. I've got Chris Wood. Like, I don't know why it's going to be a problem for Chris Wood that Nottingham Forest are going to play more attacking football if that's what happens. I mean, we must remember the last image we have of Big Ange was him absolutely shithouse defending his way to a trophy. So maybe he has infused the spirit of Mourinho into his core, and Big Ange is now going to be the real DefCon daddy.
Darius, do you think it makes, last point on this, do you think it makes Chris Wood a more enticing option to take the opposite end of it?
I think that Forest have bottled it. I think they've bottled it hard. I mean, their profile of the way that they play couldn't be more polar opposite to what Ange Postecoglou plays. Let's be honest here. Let's be real. Ange got unbelievably lucky. If he was playing a half-competent team last this season, he would not have won jack crap. He literally played the worst team in the history of Manchester United. And I can say that as a Man United fan. He literally won because of Banana, who's been shipped off to Italy and is not going to play another game for Manchester United, couldn't keep out the pissest, poorest shots at his near post from a Luke Shaw / Brennan Johnson tickle your tummy type shot that he couldn't keep out. Let's be real. Ange is crap. He's a ticking time bomb waiting to explode on Forest. The only thing I'll say is that hopefully we do get the new manager bounce. And for the next 3 games, when I still hold my Forest assets, he delivers the goods. But let's be honest, there's a reason why Australian managers do not work outside of Australia, because the standard of the A-League where Ange grew up playing is unbelievably bad. Like, it is a bad standard to the point where if I was 18, I could be playing in the A-League because it's that crap. So I don't buy into the philosophy that Ange is a good manager one iota. He's no good, and I don't know what's going to happen to Forest, but there's every chance that he takes them closer to the relegation places than he does anywhere near European knockout stages this season. You've heard it here first. Horrible appointment. Jose Mourinho, much better suited to the profile football that Nuno played, was available, but because Ange has got Greek heritage and the owner is Greek, that's the only reason why he's in the job.
Surely Mourinho can't. No, Mourinho's done in the Premier League. They're not going to bring him back, surely. All right, so we're going to move on now to a section that's inspired me to put it in after Andrew's excellent video on Monday. So I'm going to hand over to Andrew FPL Nightmare to talk us through this. Basically, we're going to have a debate, and I will put a poll up in a while to see if Andrew manages to convince you on this. You're on
right.
mute.
No, not anymore. I noticed quickly this time. Right. So what we're going to do in this section, it's going to be a bit like a courtroom trial. I am going to be the defense for the DefCon Daddies. I will be arguing to play 5 at the back with the full DefCon rules. Darius will be arguing for Trigger. I've got ahead of myself. Because Trigger is on his wild card, what we are going to do is try and persuade him of a course of action to go for on his wild card. I will be arguing for a full-on defensive attack, 5 at the back, DefCon Daddies, maybe even 1 or 2 in midfield, who knows? And then Darius is going to come in and counter, and he will argue that Trig should not be seduced by the DefCon delusion and should instead stick with the golden standard of FPL strategy, the one which has guided every previous winner to glory, and that is with the attacking fullbacks and the attacking defenders. So, and then Gary is going to weigh in with some questions, because we all know Gary doesn't actually like FPL and doesn't do any research during the week. So he will ask the questions to try and figure out what's going on, and then after we have stated our case, the questions have been answered, Judge Trig will come in and he will determine which course of action we should be taking. So, the crux of my argument with regards to DefCon is that in FPL, the rules of engagement have changed forever. The rules of engagement have completely changed with the introduction of these defensive contribution points. Now, I know Gary is hyping up my video on Monday. That was, of course, a reaction video to Late Riser and Walsh from FML FPL. That they had a conversation on the FPL wire, and that got inside my brain. That got me going. Maybe I am being seduced by the allure of the alternative strategy. Who knows? So my argument for Trig is weighing up his wild card here. And what I would say is to focus on the defensive contributions, because they're going to get you more consistent points over a period of time. They're going to provide the platform for you to attack with the attackers. Now, if you look on the screen, I have got this graphic that I've prepared, and the thing is, right, you can talk about. I'm a bit rambling. I should have practiced this, but I was making the graphic 2 minutes before we went live. If I'm honest, that's why we're live. So, does somebody else want to say something? Because I've just been talking for about 3 minutes, and I feel like does everyone understand?
The basic argument. The basic argument is that DefCons are becoming so powerful and allowing us to get so many returns, even when a player has a difficult fixture, that 5 in the back and the midfield has not been great, shall we say, that the 5 at the back is a viable option. Yeah.
What are your opening thoughts, Trig? What are your opening thoughts before we get into the debate properly?
DefCon's very important, obviously. 5 at the back now. I think we've been skewed because this season we've had twice as many clean sheets as we normally have. So the first 3 weeks has thrown up a very unusual amount of clean sheets. We've still got 10 minutes of injury time going on. We're going to get very few clean sheets. And it's just so happened that the DefCon monsters like Senesi, Lacroix, and other ones have been the same players that have actually scored attacking returns. And that's not going to happen very often. But I'm open to it. I'm open to both sides of this argument. So I want to try and sway me towards it, because that's my one issue with it, is that we haven't seen a typical first 3 weeks to the start of the season.
Sounds like you could have your work cut out, Andrew.
No, actually, that actually leads me quite well into one point. I'll try and keep this reasonably brief. Like, on the screen, there is the graphic that outlines the difference between attacking returns and defensive contributions. And I can already see Darius is struggling to read. And maybe he's a bit nervous, because apparently Darius was going to slaughter me in this debate. Apparently I can't beat Darius, but the question is...
Hold on. I've got to ask. I'm just trying to do the maths on this point here. So it says 2 DC returns in 5 games is 30 points.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 40% of games you're saying that they're getting the DC returns in?
Hypothetically, if somebody got 2 DefCon returns in 5 games, yes, they would get it in 15 games.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. I followed. I was just trying to work out where you're going with that one.
Yeah. I'm just trying. There's just like different, like how, because everyone's saying, like, Walsh's big argument was, if they get them 3 game weeks out, like every game, and I just don't think that's really realistic. So I just wanted to put a little bit of comparison there. I'll get back to that in.
There's one thing that you're missing here off this thing, and you paint a really good picture, but I'll point out the first hole in your argument. So,
good.
DC points don't, from what I've seen so far, based on the players that have got the DC contributions, has no impact on the bonus point system. So, however, when you get an assist or a goal, you're not quite often that's enough for a defender to be getting bonus points. So even though you say that a goal and an assist equals the amount of DC points or whatever, it's actually more points they're getting, because when they do get that attacking return, they can end up with the 3 bonus. If they get a goal, it's not just 6 points. It's quite often 9 points that they're getting from the goal, which you haven't factored into your DefCon Daddies graphic here. And I just wanted to point that out for the public.
Andrew, before you respond to that, could you just quickly run through the argument and then maybe respond to his point? Just run us through the slide, basically, for anyone who's listening.
Right, well, before I run through the slide, I'm going to respond to Trig's original point, which was about an increased level of clean sheets. I actually think part of that may have been because there's been a period of great change in attack for a lot of clubs. Like Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea, Newcastle, Man United and Spurs, you would say the traditional top 7 now, they've all signed at least 3 new attacking players. And that is impacting upon the quality of their attack, because it takes time for attacking strategies to settle in. Like you're seeing with Florian Wirtz, he's clearly a quality player, but just people don't know how to play with him just yet. So it will take time for those attacking patterns to be learnt and for consistency to develop. And the DefCon defenders enable a stability of points over the opening weeks while those attacks bed in. Now, I'm not saying you need to go with the DefCon Daddies all season. What I'm saying is, on your wildcard trigger for the next 6 or 7 weeks, it is worth stocking up on these big players. There are very few midfielders who you can rely on for points, and all the best midfielders are getting injured. Like Darius says, rotation is about to kick in with regards European football, and that primarily affects attackers and fullbacks as they do the most running. So the defenders, someone like Virgil van Dijk, will probably still play every match, getting the DefCon points, getting attacking returns. Darius made the point of, defenders get bonuses for attacking returns. Well, the DefCon Daddies, they still get attacking returns too. Nobody's stopping Virgil van Dijk from getting his customary 3 goals and 1 assist a game. He's just getting a load of extra points on top of that. 3 goals and 1 assist a season. He's just getting a load of extra points on top of that. Marco Senesi, very good player. Like, we're talking about Senesi, it's unusual he got a goal. That's affected, he got an assist. That's what's affected his score. Well, maybe, but in his last full season, Senesi got 4 goals and 5 assists. So that's an attacking return. That's from 26 starts. So Senesi, the ultimate DefCon daddy, it appears, he actually gets an attacking return every 3 games, plus he's getting DefCon points every game. So the sky is the limit for him. You're looking at the enablers. You're looking at what these players could do. I know for a fact you do not have Haaland in your draft. You're thinking, maybe I can switch from Salah to Haaland in game week 6. But then you're missing out on all the goals he's going to get when he puts Man United to the sword at the weekend. What you could even do is, instead of clarting around with these bang average, inconsistent midfielders who aren't going to get points, you could just get these DefCon Daddies in and distribute the funds to Haaland in attack, and then roll over the transfers until later on when you can see who you want to get rid of as well. I don't feel like I'm making my case very well.
I haven't got one.
I'll ask you a question, Andrew.
I'm not going to case.
I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, you're saying, right, over 26 points in the season is equal to 4 goals and 1 assist. Most defenders do not get 4 goals and 1 assist. So
that's the point. Yeah, that is the point.
So we're prioritising
a defender that gets 1 Thank you for that question, Gary. You've got me locked in now. So a defender to match 1 DefCon return every 3 games, which is 26 points a season, you have to get 4 goals and 1 assist, or 3 goals and 3 assists. Now, how many defenders actually do that? Not many at all. I'm just trying to find, like Saliba, for example, he got 2 goals and 0 assists last season. Attacking returns for defenders are very much overstated, except for the rare exceptions. Gabriel, 3 goals and 2 assists last season, 3 goals and 1 assist the season before, 3 goals and 0 assists the season before that. So to match Gabriel, his attacking return, you only need a DefCon return, maybe 1 in every 3 games, and you'll beat him on the attacking returns. And that's, of course, before the DefCon attacking returns are factored in as well.
Darius.
So I'll come at you. So I've got a very good case study, and we'll get onto the graphic in a minute, just because, and I know that I've already won Trig, the argument here with Trig, because the proof is in the pudding. Now, Trig at the start of the season, and Gary, for this matter, picked one Joachim Anderson from Fulham. Now, he has got DC points, I think, in all 3 games. Is that correct, Trig? Just want to check he's got them in all 3 games.
No.
Brilliant. So he's got them in all 3 games.
2 games, I think.
Oh, 2 games. There we go. So pretty much what Andrew said here, 2 DC returns in 3 games. So he's on track for 52 points for the season based off his DC points. Now, the problem with going for the DC daddies, as Andrew likes to call them, there's a problem with Anderson as a DC daddy because he's crap. He plays in a team that doesn't keep a clean sheet. He's also got Agbadudu, who, again, DC daddy, but is he keeping clean sheets? No. How many points has he scored? Bugger all. So there is a problem with going for the DC daddies if they don't marry it up with clean sheets. If they don't have a clean sheet potential and they've got DC points, you might as well throw them in the bin because, as we've seen already, all it takes is one good week from Juve for West Ham and he gets an assist, a clean sheet and bonus points, and he's already left those two idiots that apparently are DC daddies in the bin, probably never going to catch him this season as well, let's be honest, because Juve is going to be knocking in those attacking returns and getting those bonus points, which again, Andy hasn't factored into his debate here. The DC points as
to the baseline.
To the baseline. The first 3 weeks, we have seen no DC contributions equal bonus points without a clean sheet. And that is a fact. If we sit there and look at defenders that have got attacking returns, even if they've conceded a goal, they are still getting the bonus points in order to get the bonus points. That's what is not factored in here. And you can't sit there and tell me that Anderson is a good pick. And I know Trig's sitting there going...
Nobody's saying Anderson's a good pick. You're building a straw man argument here because you're not confident in taking on the debate. What if he'd gone with Senesi rather than Anderson at the start of the season? What if he'd gone with Lacroix rather than Anderson at the start of the season? Suddenly, he's on 47 points rather than like 11 points. Do you know what I mean? It's like... everyone can pick a shit player and say, oh, the tactic's going to fail because you've got a shit player. How many points has Watkins got up front so far this season? And you're arguing to keep him because what has happened does not change what will happen. These defenders that haven't kept clean sheets will keep clean sheets. Now, nobody gives a fuck about Anderson. You know, that's your little obsession. But,
how about Agbadudu?
Well, I mean, Agbadu got plenty of Wolves defenders did all right last season, 4 clean sheets in total. But what
this
about
season?
Yeah, but it's 3 games. This is why you. Well, what about?
So you're telling me if you were wildcarding this week, you would still have Agbadudu in your team?
No, I wouldn't. I'd have Lacroix.
That's my point.
Yeah, but I would have Lacroix, Virgil van Dijk, Tarkovsky, Dan Burn, and Senesi. How many clean sheets are there? How many points have you got there? You know, Tarkovsky's got 15 points, and I think he's only kept 1 clean sheet. Dan Burn has kept 2 clean sheets, and he's got DefCon points in 2 games. Senesi's on 25 points, and he's the 4th highest scorer in the game or something. Virgil van Dijk, he's only kept 1 clean sheet. He's already racking up the points, 14 points. He's got Burnley to come. Do you think Virgil van Dijk's not going to keep more clean sheets? Do you think he's not going to get attacking returns? And Lacroix is a good case study because you've got Lacroix versus Daniel Munoz. That seems to be the debate for a lot of people. Well, Lacroix is on 22 points, and Munoz is on 19, and that's based off 3 game weeks. So there is a perfect example of why the DefCons are perhaps more important than just these super attacking defenders, because the DefCon defender, in that perfect comparison of Lacroix versus Munoz, the DefCon defender is winning, and Munoz now needs to keep picking up attacking returns in order to keep pace, and he's already behind.
How about I know that Szoboszlai has been playing out of position, but technically he played it right back in that game against Arsenal. Even if we have a look at the Liverpool defence, based on the fact that Szoboszlai really should have been classified as a defender for that game because he was playing it right back. Even if you compare the Virgil van Dijk to the Szoboszlai, again, the attacking return always wins. If they get an attacking return in that game, they smash the DC player. Like, on a week-to-week basis, if the player gets an attacking return, it's a no-brainer. The attacking player still wins.
Yeah, but these DefCon defenders have attacking potential as well, Darius. Why is this so hard for you to comprehend? Who's on it? Nobody cares about Anderson. Your entire argument is Joachim Anderson, and nobody cares about
I love Anderson.
Senesi,
he loves him.
Senesi gets an attacking return every 3 games. You know, Tarkovsky
Senesi's always had the attacking potential, though. That's why he's such a good pick. So he's just added the DC points to his repertoire, but he was always known as an attacking defender.
Why are you using Joachim Anderson as your example? And I've given you a list of different
half this podcast had Anderson in their team prior to this week.
Lads. I think for the sake of time, I'm doing a poll at the minute to see if Andrew's convinced, and you're losing at the minute. It's no 72% to the DefCon Daddies 5 at the back. Yes, 28%. Trig, I'm going to come to you. They're trying to convince
let me
you.
make a couple of points. I can't get a word in edgeways.
And have they convinced you?
Firstly, Darius's argument about he's putting up Geoff's as an argument because he got 10 points. What about De Kuiper and all those blooming ones that he's got that supposedly cheap attacking players? Most of them are not getting any points at all, whereas at least the DefCon players, even Agbadou, got 4 points the other week when the Wolves were rubbish. But he still got 4 points because he got defensive contributions. So, like, defensive contributions are making a difference. But you can't compare players like that, like Darius is doing, like hyping up Juve when the likes of De Kuiper are getting nothing. And as for Anderson, he's got a lot of attacking threat. He should have scored against United last week. And United are very, very lucky that Anderson didn't score and win that game for Fulham or equal it or whatever they were going to do. And he would have got a lot of points. So those defenders can get attacking returns. But when you see my wildcard is going to show you which side of the debate I'm on, because I've already made my wildcard, and you'll see when you see it my thoughts on it. But you can't dismiss defensive contributions, but you're both making decent points, to be fair. But over to you guys again.
All right.
I feel we should get Trig's wildcard up on the screen so we can have a point of reference to the argument.
I agree. That'd be great.
Make me skip forward in my slides. There you go.
Right. So I've got 5 DefCon. Well, I've got 4 DefCon monsters. So I've got Rodon, who isn't one, is he? But
Anderson?
I've got Anderson. Yeah, of course I have. Good attacking player.
Yes, Trig.
Nothing wrong with Anderson whatsoever.
Virgil
van Dijk. You cannot argue against Virgil van Dijk. In fact, before the season started, I think most of us had him in our team, didn't we? And for some reason, we all got rid of him. I can't remember why we all got rid of him now. There was something that put us off.
Liverpool can't defend.
We all moved away from Virgil van Dijk. Lacroix speaks for himself. Excellent value at 5 million. Senesi, he's in there. I was talking about Senesi all season before he got his points. And I'm actually a little bit annoyed that he's got attacking returns before I bought him in, because I was still going to bring him in regardless. And Rodon will also get some DefCon points at some stage. But rather than play 5 at the back, which I think is Andrew's argument, I think you can you're making a lot of noise with your sweet wrapper. I think instead of having 5 at the back the whole time, you can still get them and just play normally and just play the best ones. There's no reason why you have to play all of them every single week. Although admittedly this week, I am a bit concerned that Senesi could do what he did on Andrew's bench last week and get another 14 points. But just play normal. I mean, I haven't had to sacrifice my attackers to play these people because my defence is not that expensive, really. Senesi's cheap, 4.5 million. Anderson, 4.5 million. Lacroix's only 5 million. And the only premium in there is Virgil van Dijk. But I think it's kind of a false argument, really. I think we've got to have DefCon players in there. I think if you don't have any and just totally ignore them, then your results are going to suffer at the end of the season.
Well, that's to keep us moving on.
Is that D-Unit's team?
No, this is something that D-Unit sent us. So I'm going to hand over to Darius because I don't even know what this is, to be honest.
It looks like the same as we've got with Tarkovsky included.
Darius, do you want to talk us through what this is, mate?
Yeah, happy to talk through it. So I just want to talk about Trig's wildcard team there briefly as well. So look, I've sat there and I've criticised the Anderson pick all season, and I'll continue to criticise it because the problem with the DC points, and I think Andrew's recognised this of Agbadou post his wildcard. If you're picking a DC daddy, as we're going to call them, and they have no clean sheet potential, they're not good picks. You're never going to get more than 3, maximum 4 points a game if they can't keep clean sheets. So at the end of the day, they're easily going to be outscored by the players that are from a better defense. And yes, I will grant that what Andrew said in my team, De Kuyper, and what Trig said was a bad move. I expected Brighton to be a better defense than what we've seen, but they're literally defending the same way as Fulham did last year. And I've not waited and wasted any more time. De Kuyper's gone from my team. We'll have a look at my team later, but he's been shown the door because if you can't keep a clean sheet, that is your bread and butter as a defender. So, which is why I do not understand the likes of Agbadou, the likes of Anderson and anyone's team, particularly if they're wildcarding this week, because you're literally throwing away the potential of 4 points from a clean sheet and potentially bonus points every single week by picking a player that just will not get clean sheets. Like Anderson is a fact. And someone says about his attacking returns, et cetera, he just played the most likely team he is going to get an attacking return against Man United, and he couldn't get the job done against Flappy Bird. He's got no hope of getting it against the other 19 teams. Let's be honest. He didn't score an attacking return once last season playing for Fulham. They don't score goals that way in general. He's just got no attacking potential. You're relying on DC points and clean sheets. Fulham kept 6 clean sheets last season. They're on track to do exactly the same this year. It's a dud pick in every way, shape, or the form. He won't even crack 100 points, even with the DC points. You heard it here first. But onto this bit here. So
I feel like you've become obsessed with Anderson to the detriment of the debate. Like if you swap Anderson for Dan Burn in that debate, in that top line, that is an elite defence, and it's cheap enough. And the argument is, what I would say when it comes to these DefCon defenders is that what they enable is Haaland and Salah in a wildcard draft. And then when you're talking about the cheaper players that enable that, the defensive contribution defenders are more viable than the cheaper midfielders for the same for the same price. So you could go with, a Dewsbury Hall on your bench. You could go with a Josh King on your bench. You could, and that's what the DefCon defenders do. They provide more points. Then who's going to get more points out of Lacroix or, Josh King or
Lads, can you hear me
Dewsbury Hall?
We
can hear your crackling of your sweets.
No, that's fine. I thought my mic had unplugged. Sorry.
So what I would say is, it's really the main thing is about the structure, because if you've got enough money to get all the inconsistent midfielders that get points, then you can gamble on them. But the fixtures aren't great yet. The fixtures don't get consistently great for any team for quite a few weeks yet, probably about 9 more game weeks. So you're going to be needing to make a lot of transfers or carrying a lot of attacking players through bad games. And the DefCon defenders, to raise that baseline, you talk about defenders not keeping clean sheets. They can concede 3 goals and still get 3 points, whereas a defender without DefCons concedes 3 goals and gets 1 point. And over time, that 2 points adds up over and over and over. I'm not saying you need to play 5 at the back. I'm saying it's a viable strategy if it enables you to have Gyökeres, Haaland, Salah, and Bruno Fernandes and, say, Paqueta in midfield, and then you've got 5 premium attackers from 5 premium teams, apart from West Ham, but they're all on penalties, and they've all got great goal potential every week. Doesn't matter who they're playing, they could always get a penalty. And I think that's the key to the strategy. It's what it enables elsewhere in the team. So, but this obsession with Anderson has to end. You're the only one talking about him, and you're making I feel like you're using this segment of the show to be mean about a player. That's done nothing to you.
He did literally say he was going to do that. Derek, is there anything you want to talk about this graphic, mate, before we move on to the predictions?
Yeah, so Anderson, obviously, I stitched up because I actually had Sepp Van den Bergen there instead, who has got the DC points. He's also got a clean sheet. In reality, if I was to pick between the two, I'd go with him because he's got DC points in all 3 games for Brentford so far this season. So, Trig, maybe you need to think about that instead of Anderson in your own team because Brentford have actually kept the clean sheet. But if we have a look, this is what my argument was with the ultimate attacking 5, right? So we've got, instead of Senesi, Lacroix, Anderson, Tarkowski, and Virgil, for about the same amount of price, we've got Cucurella, Munoz, Calafiori, Juve, Livramento. Now, the attacking potential of all these blokes in any single game week, now all it would take is for one of them, if you played a back 5 versus the other back 5, all it would take is about 1 goal or 1 attacking return from the 5 players in that game week, and they've pretty much already covered all the DC points that for all the other 5 got them in 1 single week. All you would need is 1 goal with a 3 bonus, and you're pretty much covered all 5 of the DC points, provided that they all got it in any single game week. So I just wanted to show the attacking potential still, I think, beats out the DC points. Even if you played 5 at the back every single week, if you had 5 really good attacking defenders, the chances of actually getting an attacking return that would cover not having the DC points is huge. The actual, the real sweet spot, though, is if we have a look at the bottom 5, these guys are a mix of DC points with attacking potential. So, for example, Chalobah, which I'm very surprised is not in Trig's team, based on the fact that he's gotten a goal, an assist, and he's averaging 9 DC points per game, just over 9, and yet he's nowhere near Trig's team, and Trig supports Chelsea. And the best thing about Chalobah is that he quite often gets the early sub. So he even gets the clean sheet kept. I love the players that get subbed about 60 to 70 minutes because there's every likelihood that they actually get the clean sheet points, and the clean sheet points are always going to trump the DC points. So that's something else you need to consider. And I quite often like picking players that do get that early sub, so that way you do get the clean sheet points. And remember, 4 clean sheet points is double 2 DC points. Just keep that in mind.
The other problem that you're not considering, though, is that attacking returns are harder to get against tougher teams. So you're going to have to be changing them players and spending transfers to get the ones more viable for each game week. Also, like I said, a lot of these attacking fullbacks are a lot more injury prone, whereas the DefCon Daddies at the back, a lot of them are centre-backs, and they provide that consistency. It doesn't matter if they go up against Newcastle away; they can still get an extra 2 points, which is fine. You know, not every player is going to return in every game week. Whereas if you have say, your man Kirkes, you're getting 1 point. 0 points if he gets booked, and if they've got a run, you couldn't have carried Kirkes through this last 2 weeks against Arsenal and Newcastle, but you certainly could with Van Dijk because, fair enough, he might only get an extra 4 points, but that's a clean sheet over 2 game weeks. That's an extra 4 points. Do you know what I mean? So, and then them transfers, instead of clarting on with your defence, trying to fix it all, they can be used on the attack. They can be used on the injured players, on the suspended players, on the players that are prone to rotation, and they facilitate getting more points in attack. That's the key thing that the DefCon players do. They facilitate targeting the right attacking players for the fixtures.
And they also mean you don't have to make so many transfers because you can always play a Senesi any week rather than have to make a attacking transfer. But if you've got someone like Juve in your side and he's away at Man City or whatever, you just can't play them. You can't go near them.
All right, lads, I'm going to end the debate. It's the poll I'm now going to close. It's actually more closer than it was earlier. So 65% say no, 35% say yes, 5 at the back is viable. So you've won some people round there, Andrew, towards the end. So let's move on to the fixtures for this week. I'll come to you for a prediction. Then we can have a look at the best predicted teams in terms of goals conceded and goals scored this week. So, Trig, I'll come to you this one first, mate, because we haven't had a chance to talk for a while, have we? Arsenal versus Forest. What do you reckon is going to happen here, mate?
I haven't got a word in for half an hour. Arsenal Forest. Yeah, this is interesting. I'll tell you what, I watched a highlight reel of Jokies in his performance against whoever they played yesterday. Absolutely awful. He was shocking. I've got him on my wild card, and he was terrible. So he really needs to up his game. Yeah, international YouTube highlights of every touch he had during the game. And all he seemed to do was give the ball away. Absolutely rubbish. He really was. So I really need him to do something. It's hard to imagine Forest will keep a clean sheet, but you never know. It's like Darius said, change of manager, it can do weird things, can't it? So
what are you going with, Trig?
I don't know. What was that?
What are you going to go with?
I think I shall go. Am I being rushed through it? I finally get a chance to speak, and I'm rushed. So I'll go with 2-0 to Arsenal.
Go on, mate. You can do Bournemouth Brighton as well. Oh, he's off now. He's off. He's sulking. I'll do Bournemouth Brighton. I'll give myself a chance to speak. This will be quite a close one, but I do think Bournemouth will have too much for Brighton. Semenyo is my not picking him is my worst decision of the season so far. I'm going to go 2-1 to Bournemouth. Andrew, do you want to give your thoughts on Crystal Palace and your beloved Sunderland?
You're a naughty boy, Gary. Well, what I think will happen is Crystal Palace will win perhaps 2-0. Lacroix will get a goal from a corner, and he'll get defensive contribution points, and he'll get 3 bonus points.
Well, someone said earlier they love the way that Trig says Lacroix, so I'm going to have to get him to say that when he comes out. I think he was screaming for vengeance.
I miss Daddies calling him Lacroix.
Lacroix.
Oh, it's Trig's cat. We've got Trig's cat.
Trig's cat's taken over from him.
To go back on the Forest and Arsenal game, I actually fancy Forest to do them. I think they'll win 1-0. Yeah, I do. They've got an ex-Spurs manager in. It's at the lunchtime kickoff, and they're away at Arsenal. It's just got 1-0 Forest written all over it for me.
It's very good. Derek, what do you reckon for Everton versus Villa? Do you reckon Watkins is going to finally come in for you?
I think both teams score here. I think Villa will be significantly better post the international break. Harvey Elliott. Is it Harvey Elliott? Yeah. Jamie Elliott. I keep getting confused. There's a bloke that plays in the AFL over here called Jamie Elliott, and I always get confused with him. Harvey Elliott, I think he'll be really good for Villa's attack. Jadon Sancho, not so much. Victor Lindelof probably not getting in the game. Don't know why they signed him, to be honest with you, other than to occupy their injury ward. But I just think Everton haven't convinced me from a defensive standpoint at all. So I think there'll be goals in this game. So I think I'm going to go with like a 2-2 draw.
Okay. Trig, do you want to do Fulham Leeds for us, mate? We looked at both quite good defensive teams, and we looked at this on Saturday.
Am I going to get interrupted this time?
No.
I see you've turned your mic off, Gary. The hissing in my ears has suddenly vanished. Right, let's have a look here. So Fulham Leeds. Obviously, I've got the mighty Anderson is in my side. So I'm hoping for a Fulham clean sheet here. Fulham have actually bought a couple of new players as well. They've got some new wingers. I think Kevin's one of them. So I'm really looking forward to this match. Leeds has started well, but I think away from their home ground, they're not quite as good. But Josh King's going to be interesting because he was in quite a lot of my drafts, but I took him out for, what's his face? I don't know, Stately Home, Dewsbury Hall. So I took him out, but Josh King could do very well. But there is a case that Iwobi at some stage is going to move into the number 10 position now that they've got 2 decent wingers. But I'm going to say, I'll tell you what, actually, Muniz, the Fulham striker, I think is actually being very, very underlooked, very cheap. And now that they have new wingers, I think Fulham are going to be a bit better attacking wise. And I think he's an interesting pick, but I haven't heard a single person mention this entire fortnight, listening to all the shows that I've listened to. Not one single person has mentioned him. They're all talking about Thiago and Strand Larsen and all those cheap players. But Muniz, I think, could do very well. If I didn't have to have João Pedro, because I'm obsessed with João Pedro, if I didn't have him, I would be going with Muniz is my cheap striker. So I'm going to say 2-0 to Fulham and Muniz is going to score. So that's that.
Yeah, I think the other thing as well is Leeds' keeper's injured, isn't he? Or he might be injured.
Yeah.
So, you know, it might even be 3-0, an extra Anderson goal from a corner. So
what's Gary wearing?
Fulham concede. They always concede, so Leeds score here.
I will move on to Newcastle versus Wolves. I'll take that one, and I think Newcastle are going to win. Now they've got a bit of firepower up front. I think they're going to have far too much for Wolves. Newcastle, of course, been the best team defensively so far this season, conceding only like 1.6 xG over 3 games, including games against Villa and Liverpool, two very good attacking teams. I think Wissa will start. I know a lot of people are wondering who will start for Newcastle up front. It will be Johan Wissa, because we've paid 20 million over the price to get him in for his ready-made potential. Voltemada will get minutes, but Wissa will be starting. A word of caution for anyone considering gambling on Elanga. Eddie Howe has a tendency to play players who have been at the club over international breaks on the first week back. Now, Elanga has been away with Sweden, outscoring both Isak and Gyökeres and making them all look embarrassing, to be honest. And Jacob Murphy, who was one of our better attacking players against Leeds, has been at the club. So I would expect Jacob Murphy will start at the weekend. But yeah, Newcastle will, I would suspect, win that game. Although Wolves will probably score because they tend to be the odd goal in 5, Newcastle versus Wolves. Traditionally, there's goals for both teams, but that would be that.
Someone just said Viss is injured. Is that right?
No, it's the first I've heard of it.
Yeah. Darius, our resident Spurs expert, what do you think's going to happen against West Ham? You got it right last time, didn't you?
I tell you what, Spurs are just doing Spurs things. I said they were no good for the start of the season. I stand by it now. They only beat Burnley, who are rubbish, the 20th place team. They beat Man City, who they always beat. And then as soon as they come up against a half-decent team, they buckled at home. And now they go away to one of their bogey teams in West Ham. And West Ham, fresh off that 3-0 thumping of Forest, return. And obviously Spurs are going to be worried about the Champions League midweek as well. I think West Ham, this has the recipe of a West Ham win written all over it. I am going to go with 3-1 West Ham.
Did you give a score for Newcastle Wolves? Someone saying in the chat, Pod was saying you didn't give a score.
Well, I said, like, traditionally both teams tend to score about 2 goals. So I would say Newcastle. If I was to make a prediction, I'd say 3-0 to Newcastle. But I don't know how viable my score predictions are when it comes to Newcastle, because I'm obviously going to favour them. But traditionally, it's been the winner has been by the odd goal in 5. So say 3-2 Newcastle. With regards, going back to the person in the chat who said about Wissa being injured. Now, I've had a quick look on Twitter, and the person who's spreading this rumour is a notorious idiot. So most Newcastle fans have him blocked. What I would say is Wissa's probably gone off because he's played 2 games in a week, having not played for months and had no pre-season. But also in that time, he scored 2 goals and got an assist. So I wouldn't be worried about Johan Wissa.
Oh, he's come off in the international game.
Would you think Elanga would be a good pick on a wild card?
On a wild card for the longer term, I think he'll be Newcastle's starting right winger, but I'm not convinced he'll start this week.
Oh,
because Murphy's been at the club, whereas Elanga has been away.
Yeah, remember old Jacob Murphy's here at the end of last season? Trig, I'll come on to you, your beloved Chelsea, mate. Brentford Chelsea. What do you reckon's going to happen now?
Tricky one, this one, I think, because I think it could be quite difficult for Chelsea. We haven't seen much of Palmer in training, if at all. I mean, we've seen a few pictures of somebody hiding behind another player that wasn't actually Palmer. Turned out it was Garnacho. So whether Palmer's even going to be fit, we just don't know. So it makes it impossible to really choose him on a wild card. And he hasn't done anything since January anyway. João Pedro and a few others coming back from South America. So you think João Pedro is going to have to play, although they've got European competitions starting this week. It's a difficult one. I think this could be quite low scoring, actually, this game. I'm going to go with, I think I'll go 1-0 to Chelsea, I think. I think they can still keep a clean sheet. As for D-Unit having Chalobah and asking why I haven't got Chalobah, that's because Fofana's coming back to fitness. They've also got the guy they bought from Ajax. It's like, I don't think he's nailed. Once Champions League starts, then it's going to be tricky. Whereas the likes of Senesi are 100% nailed. So they're the type of defenders I want on my wild card. I think Chalobah, while he's playing, he is good. So's Tosin. But there's always that element of risk with Chelsea, as Darius said himself when he was talking about the Champions League starting. So I'm not sure why he had Chalobah in his lineup, and Timber for that matter.
All right, I'll take this one on because I think I've possibly got more Liverpool players than everyone else now. So I've still got Wirtz. So actually, you do as well, Trig, don't you? Salah and Wirtz. This is going to be a big one, isn't it? Because people are either going to captain Salah or they're going to captain Haaland. But I fancy Liverpool here. I mean, Burnley lost 3-2 at Manchester United. I mean, what are Liverpool going to do to them? I reckon, I know people, I can see it in Darius' face. I know people are like, Salah's past his best. He's only had like a couple of late points or whatever in 2 games. I'm going to go something like 5-1 here, I think. Salah to come back, and he's going to get me 2 goals and an assist as my captain. That's what I'm hoping for, mate. Darius,
I'm really not confident at all.
Darius, I'll come on to you, mate, as our resident Man United fan. Are you captaining Haaland? And what do you reckon the score is going to be here, mate?
I think this will be the game of the weekend to finish off the week, to be honest with you. I also think that Brentford are going to beat Chelsea 1-0, Collins' goal. I think that Liverpool will find it very difficult against Burnley. I wouldn't even be surprised if there's a shock result in this game. Liverpool have not been playing well. Let's be honest. Yes, they have 3 wins from 3, but they have not been playing well. And I feel like Burnley I don't know what it is. Mo Salah's record against Burnley is pretty awful from his time in the league. And let's be honest, he's been absolutely rubbish. If you had to pick between Salah and Haaland at the moment, it's a clear Haaland win based on almost every metric in the game. He's outscored Salah.
Trig and Ange, do you get a flashback to game week 1 predictions with a certain... I can see a Burnley upset here against Spurs, and we all know how that one went, don't we?
Well, that was unfortunate. Burnley were at Spurs, so that's got to be taken into consideration. But the Manchester derby, I think, is going to be high scoring. I think Haaland will be the top scoring player this week. I think I've captained him myself in my own team, even though he's playing my team. That doesn't stop me from captaining people. I think he's on track. He's going to either have a feast or a famine. I think he's going to be having a feast. He's off the back of 5 goals midweek in international football. He's literally a player that's banging form. I can't see any world where he doesn't score at least a couple of times. Man United's defence are not that good, but neither are Man City's. So I think this game has like a 3-3 or a 4-3 written all over it. And we'll just ask the card who it thinks is going to win, Man United, Man City. And it's going with Man City. So there you go. The card has predicted Man City 4-3.
You've completely forgot that Man City have just signed the best goalkeeper in the world.
That doesn't stop them from. Trafford was the best goalkeeper in the championship last year. I don't think
they've got Donnarumma.
Slightly different best goalkeeper in the championship, best in the world.
We've got Mbumo and Fernandes. We're getting goals. Man City's defence is rubbish. No goalkeeper can bail that defence out.
You've not got many goals so far, have you? I mean, Man United struggled to get goals against Grimsby.
We've actually got as many goals as we've got 4 goals so far, which is quite a lot in comparison to some teams. More than Newcastle, I believe.
All right, lads. So
we've got no striker.
Neither do we. He's sitting on the bench.
All right, so I mainly put this one up for people on Wildcard, and there are some people on Wildcard. I'll just come to all 3 of you individually and say, if you were playing the Wildcard this week, who are the 3 players that would have to be in it? So I'll just say here, projected goals highest at Liverpool, Man City, and Newcastle. Clean sheet highest predicted odds are Arsenal, Liverpool, Newcastle, and Crystal Palace. And this table is from Rob T, FPL, obviously. Andrew, I'll come to you first. 3 must-haves on free hit if you were on free hit.
On free hit?
Yeah.
Right. Well, you would have to. I would just go with. If I was on free hit this week, I'd just go with Salah, Gakpo, and Ekatika.
Yeah.
Like they're playing. They're going to get a lot of goals, that Liverpool team. You might as well get all 3 of them in and hope that you get the right ones.
Yeah. Trig, 3 different players for us, mate, if you were on Wildcard. I'm going to introduce that as a rule as well.
Free hit.
I'm not convinced Liverpool are going to score a lot of goals, but obviously Salah is the best captaincy choice this week. If you say he isn't, then, maybe you could make a case for Haaland. But I'll put Haaland in there. No, actually, on a free hit, no, I won't, because you can't really have both, can you? Without. So I'll say, so I've got to use 3 different players. So I'm going to go for, it's tricky, isn't it? I'd like to pick a Newcastle player, but choosing one of them isn't easy. I'll say Munoz, even though I'm not getting him on my wild card, but I'll say Munoz.
Nice.
If you're on a free hit, you're going to want him, aren't you?
Yeah. You've got 2 more.
That's one of them. Oh, good. Jeez, it's tricky. I'll go with who shall I pick? The Madueke. I'll pick Madueke. Someone different.
Nice.
Because he's going to start because Saka's out. You can't have him on a wild card, but on a free hit, I think he's a good one to have. I will actually go Visser. I'll go Visser.
Okay. What I would say with regards to Madueke as well, obviously Ryan got injured through the week, so it might be that Nico Williams switches over to right back and Zinchenko's at left back, and he hasn't barely played for months.
Darius, 3 more players, mate. Have you been listening? Do you know who the lads chosen? Like 3 players other than the ones they've chosen. We can test how much Darius has been listening to us here.
I just think that these odds this week are completely wrong, if I'm being really honest with you. I think that Fulham keeping a clean sheet at 35% chance is ludicrous. They don't start above 20% any given week. Like, based on the stats. So how they're up at 35% is beyond me. Then I also look at the likes of Bournemouth, and the Tottenham West Ham one is really interesting. I've actually got West Ham higher chance to keep a clean sheet than Spurs in my own head. I actually think that Jared Bowen's an amazing pick this week if you're on free hit. I like Chalobah. I know that Trig hasn't bothered mentioning him, but I think he could be good. I also think Collins could be a really good shout this week.
I wonder why.
If you wanted a really differential kind of pick, now I don't think anyone said Haaland yet, but I'd be picking him on a free hit 100%. And for an outside shot at a bit of madness, you could go with a Canade pick. A header for Canade is a lot more likely than a header from Virgil van Dijk, and maybe a lot of people might be overlooking that one.
Oh, nice one. I'm going to go Gyökeres, Wirtz. I'm going for the really unpopular ones you guys haven't picked, and João Pedro. I think anyone picked João Pedro, did they? All right, so let's move on to our teams, and we'll start with the greatest team in FPL. My team. So I've got Sells in goal against Arsenal. This is my starting players, obviously. 3 at the back. Porro against West Ham. Anderson at home to Leeds. Konsa away to Everton. Reinders at home to Man United. Fernandes away to Man City, captain Salah away to Burnley, Wirtz away to Burnley, and then up front, Evan Nielsen at home to Brighton, Gyökeres at home to Forest, and Mateta, vice captain, at home to Sunderland. So I made a members only video about this it was 2 weeks ago now, wasn't it? And I was strongly thinking about wildcarding, but then I looked at, and all right, you can say since then the Ange Postecoglou situation has happened. I looked at this. I like this team for this week, but I really like this team for the following 2 game weeks. Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, they pretty much all have good fixtures. They've all got they're all playing, like, not Bournemouth, but they're all playing very low teams, low teams in the league, including Forest. And, I mean, me and Andrew discussed it. I think I'm going to probably end up wildcarding in game week 7. But I am absolutely perfectly happy with this for the next 2 game weeks. So who would like to rip me apart first? Darius, you always enjoy ripping apart my team. 2 Andersons.
How many transfers have you got?
1. And I've got 0.3 in the bank, I think.
Oh, your team's an easy fix. Just trade out Anderson at the back for Senesi and roll.
Anderson at home to Leeds.
Looks pretty good. Yeah, I'd still get rid of him. I don't rate him at all. I'm telling you, Fulham concede against Leeds 100%. I'm calling it right now. They'll concede a stupid goal. They always concede goals, and he's not getting an attacking return. Senesi has got more chance of a clean sheet against Brighton at home than Anderson does against Leeds at home for me. So, and I think long term, it's a good move. And Senesi is going to offer a lot more attacking potential, a lot more clean sheet potential, just a better player in general than what Anderson is. Other than that, I actually think you're right. I think I wouldn't be wildcarding either. The Forest boys should be good for 5 and 6, and then maybe you wildcard in game week 7. Gyökeres, how long have you had him? Have you had him the whole season?
No, I only brought him in last game week.
Okay.
But I like him.
I'm not sure why he did that, but yeah, I think you went a few 2 weeks early on him potentially.
Maybe it was.
Other than that, it's pretty good.
I think it's because it sort of works out well with the other transfer I made. But what do you reckon? I want to hold. Well, I mean, the value for me, Trig, is holding for 2 free transfers the next game week. Would you be doing that?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's very good. I mean, this team you've got here isn't that far away from my actual wildcard team, apart from
bloody hell
defence, because. Yeah, I mean, it looked a bit ropey a couple of weeks ago, but you've been lucky in that you avoided all the injuries with
skills.
And Cunha, you managed to avoid them all. So it's looking good going forward. I'd definitely save. I mean, it'd be silly to make a transfer this week, wouldn't it, with that starting lineup?
What do you think of Gyökeres as captain, Andrew? I'm thinking of certainly moving him to my vice captain.
I would not be captaining Gyökeres because he's shown nothing this season, but he had a half-decent game against Leeds, who fell apart. So, he's a championship striker that's done well against a championship team. Beyond that, I think the jury is very much still out on Gyökeres. He looked very poor in the week. And also in the last game, he's playing like he's got cement in his boots. However, I'd still stick with him because for now, you might as well stick with him this week if you think Forest are as bad as that West Ham performance suggested, and that Postecoglou is going to make them worse defensively in 3 days. I don't think it's probably worth a transfer unless you could get to Haaland or maybe Joao Pedro, but then Joao Pedro is coming back from Brazil as well. So is he going to be at optimum levels this weekend? Perhaps not. I wouldn't. I would get Senesi in, perhaps for Conce or for Murillo, but then Murillo's got 2 good games after this week. So I would get Senesi in for Conce would be my move.
So I'm surprised you all prioritise that, because the one move I did think about if I was going to make a move would have been Murillo to the Crystal Palace. Manoz. Oh, Craig, can you say Lecroix for us, or whatever his name is?
Lecroix?
Yeah, someone said they like the way you say that name, so I just I would give that people a little bit. Yeah, but it would have been it would have been to Munoz, not to Nessie.
I would certainly, if you can do Maria to, Munoz, and that's Munoz has got a much higher points potential than Consa this week and for the next few weeks. So I would certainly not discourage that move. I would, in fact, encourage it.
It's only Murillo, that's the problem. It's the only one I can get rid of, and he's got 2 good fixtures.
Let me guess, Gary. Let me guess. Does FPL Review recommend you save your transfer this week?
I believe it does. Have you been looking up my transfers on FPL Review again? Take a look.
I just know
what I would say, if you go back to your team there, Gary, if you were to get in Munoz for Murillo, hang on, just let me see.
Yeah.
Murillo. And then, like, next week, you could easily play Porro, Murillo, and Anderson at home to Brentford, and that would be fine. And then the week after, you can bring in, you could even bring in Senesi next week and somebody else the week after if you really wanted. There's no, I think Senesi would be a good one, but I think, like you say, Munoz has probably got higher points potential this week.
There's no rush for him. There's no rush for him to get Senesi in because Senesi's not. He's already risen in price this week. He's not going to rise again in price because everybody's bringing him in on a wild card. So
has Murillo gone down out of interest, Andrew?
No.
Really? I'm surprised. No. I'm surprised by that. All right, let's move on.
Everybody's on wild card, so the prices aren't moving much.
Did they not take it into account when people are on wild card?
No, and free hits. So I mean, so
yeah, fair enough. All right, so let's move on to Darius's team. He's got Sells away to Arsenal, Milenkovic, Collins at home to Chelsea, Diouf at home to Tottenham, Senesi at home to Brighton, and then he's going 4-3-3. Reinders, Gakpo, and Bruno Fernandes in midfield. Evan Nilsson, Haaland, and Watkins up front, with Sarr on the bench, I assume, obviously because he's injured, and then Cunha and Dorgu. And you've already made a transfer, is that right, Darius?
Yeah, so De Kuiper's gone. Good riddance, done nothing. I got originally it was between him and Senesi at the start of the season. I just got that one horribly wrong. Otherwise, I'd be sitting a lot more pretty at the moment than what it could have been. It was a pretty easy move. Senesi was going to go up in price, so I wanted to catch that price rise before it happened. And De Kuiper was someone I wanted to get rid of. It was either going to be him or Dorgu. I just think that post this week, I think that Dorgu actually will outscore De Kuiper quite easily. I think Man United's defence is actually better than Brighton's as well from what I've watched. Now, I was going to take a -4 and I was open to a -8. However, I just think that potentially there's no reason for me to sell Cunha or Sarr. They're nowhere near a price drop. And I kind of want to see what happens between Game Week 4 and the Champions League and European competition this week, which is kind of why I haven't done a -4, because I'm kind of concerned that the player that potentially I could go for might then get rotated, and I want to see how that looks. So I just want an extra week's worth of info, really. And I'm quite happy playing a 4-3-3 this week. I know that the fixtures don't look amazing, like double Forest defence against Arsenal. But as we just said before, that game, now that they've sacked the manager, could really go one of two ways. And I'm just hoping that this is the week where potentially the 15-pointer that I've been talking about for Milenkovic might come home to roost. I mean, that would be ironic, wouldn't it? Everyone sells their double Forest defence or moves them out on free hit and wildcard or benches them like Gary has. And then I'm playing them because I've really got no other options because of the injuries and Dorgu. And it comes in. That'd be peak FPL. And like all of a sudden my luck that's deserted me the first 3 game weeks comes back. And here I am looking pretty, hopefully. We'll never know. We'll find out Saturday night in the reaction stream anyway.
If Star is like 50-50, will you stick him in your starting line? Like if we don't get a definite 100%, he's out.
Yeah, potentially. Realistically, it'll probably be Collins first on the bench, and it'll be Sarr and Cunha both on field. However, if they don't play, obviously Collins will be in, and I've kind of gone with they're both going to be out, but I actually expect Cunha to play, so that is one I might have to weigh up because I think potentially he'll be on the bench and come on against Man City. It's just, will he get an attacking return? If he does, then potentially I'll play him over Collins. Otherwise, yeah, I'm probably going to go as is.
I mean, to be honest, looking at this, This does have wildcard written all over it. Do you not think, Andrew?
I think, like Dave Wilshire says in the chat, this mess is looking like a teenager's bedroom floor. No, well, I mean, you could wildcard it, but like, I feel like if you take a chance and put Cunha in instead of Milenkovic, have Milenkovic as your second sub, and I think it'll probably be fine. You'll probably stagger through for another week, maybe only lose another 15 points on the field. But I mean, it's not too bad, is it? Really? I mean, it's just defensively, it's a shambles.
Yeah.
If you look at it, if Haaland captain comes in and massively outscores Salah, I'm going to get a green arrow because.
Yeah, but what if it doesn't? What if Haaland goes off injured and Salah gets a hat trick? Like you could do 1,000 what ifs. You could do 1,000 what ifs to argue points. I mean, Haaland would probably get a goal or something, but. I mean, it's asking a lot to rely on one player to save your game week when you could just hypothetically wildcard and have 11 players who could properly contribute.
But that'd only be 11 players for this game week. So, for example, if I moved and did my wildcard now, well, my idea is potentially to bring my wildcard forward to game week 7. So then I can bring the Arsenal players in and I'll be much happier with the way the team looks. Whereas at the moment, if I wildcarded now, I'd be concerned that I'd then have to be making transfers in 2 weeks' time anyway. Whereas meandering through for a couple more weeks, maybe with suboptimal players, might actually be the play because then I can actually do a wild card and absolutely nail that team. And then other people are having to waste transfers trying to fix theirs, the wild card now.
I would also start Dubravka over Sells. Dubravka's playing at home for one, and that always helps. And
no, so it says
also,
away.
Yeah, well, Darius's graphics are wrong, unless Cunha's playing left back or something. No wonder Man United are struggling with Cunha in defence. But yeah, I would start Dubravka over Sells. He's more likely to get save points, more likely to have the crowd support him through to an unlikely clean sheet. And I would also say Liverpool are probably more likely to get a penalty, so you're more likely to get a penalty save that will get extra points. So why not try something different?
Trig, what do you think to that?
I quite like it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this team. He's gone down the no Salah route, so he's obviously not afraid of being different.
There's nothing wrong with that defence.
Like Darius says, it's going to be the Haaland Salah debate that probably works out. And the other thing is, if you wildcards, he probably has to take Watkins out, and Watkins could do very well this week. Evan Nielsen as well. And the defence is okay. We don't know that Arsenal are going to beat Forest. I mean, things never work out how we think they're going to work out. So, like you said, Milenkovic could get attacking returns. Sells could save a penalty from that useless idiot Gyökeres, and anything can happen.
Dave Wills,
like you said, Collins will probably get defensive contribution points against Chelsea. Diouf could easily get an assist or something against Tottenham, and Senesi, as he's on my bench, will probably get another 14-pointer. So I don't see anything wrong with it really for this week. He's got Gakpo as well, who would be tough to include on a wild card. So it's not bad.
Dave Wilsh is on form tonight. He's saying Stells, clues in the name. I like that one. Please do drop a like, by the way, if you're enjoying the stream. Andrew, FPL Nightmare, we've got your team up next, mate. Before we look at,
isn't it beautiful?
I like the screenshot as well. It's much. It's all nice little black borders there. So you got
That
Vicario.
needs a wild card. Yeah, mate, he's already used one.
Vicario and there is a few people saying challenging, and I'll come to you in a minute, Andrew. People saying, why is Andrew not wildcarding to 5 at the back? Because you've already used it. So Vicario and goal against West Ham. Porro against 4-4-2. Porro against West Ham. Also Livramento Wolves. Cucurella against Brentford. Senesi against Brighton. Midfield is currently starting Sarr despite the flag against Sunderland. Kudos against West Ham. Barnes against Fulham. Reinders against Man United
Wolves.
against Wolves. Sorry,
Against Wolves.
Reinders against Man United. João Pedro against Brentford away, and Haaland captain against Man United at home. Andrew, talk us through. Have you made any moves?
No, this is before any transfers. I don't think I will make a transfer. I'm pretty happy if Sarr is injured. I'm pretty happy for Wood to come in and get the winning goal against Arsenal. That would be fine. Like Darius is saying, I should be wildcarding this, but I think
that's doing.
Well, no, because I think Newcastle are going to storm.
Put your money where the mouth is.
Well, I've got 4 defenders already.
You want
4
5
defenders already.
Oh, you want 5 in the back. 5 in the back, you said.
Yeah, but like you said, Agbadou's no good.
He's better than Chris Wood coming all the way from New Zealand.
I don't think he'll get any
30
defensive
minutes.
contributions, to be honest. I think Newcastle play in a way that will actually negate Agbadou's defensive contribution threat this week. But, I could quite easily do Agbadou to Van Dijk and play 5 at the back. I could do Agbadou to Munoz. I could do Agbadou to Lacroix. These are all options I'm considering. With regards to transfer that I do have, I've got 2.3 million in the bank, so I can basically have whoever I want. I think the midfield, I might get Van Dijk in. I quite prefer Lacroix, I think. Get somebody against Sunderland. I don't know why you're saying my principles are 5 at the back. What I'm saying is
that's what you said earlier, mate.
Well, what I also said in my video, my excellent video
Your argument, not your principles, your argument.
Was that over a sustained period of time, the cheaper defenders will get more points than the cheaper midfielders in general because of the defensive contribution points. We're talking about the equivalent. I don't really have that issue because I am going without Mo Salah. So I have the money to get these expert players like Kudos and Reinders in midfield. But, another thing I'm considering is I could just bring in Bruno Fernandes. I might even take a hit just for the fun. Who knows? But, yeah, there's plenty of options. But I think every player in that I could make a point for every player in that team apart from, even Agbadou.
What would it be, mate? You did it?
I'd do Cunha to Fernandes and I'd probably bring in a defender. But then if I bring in another defender, I don't feel the need to make a hit because I'd have the players anyway. So I might as well just wait.
Are you not concerned about having 0 Liverpool players?
Well, of course I am concerned about having 0 Liverpool players, but the way my season has gone so far, I'm more concerned that I'll bring in the wrong player if I was to make a transfer. I don't really see the sense in losing my head over 1 game week. Like, maybe they get points, but maybe Haaland covers it. Maybe Gakpo gets a goal, but so does Harvey Barnes. Maybe Florian Wirtz scores, but so does Kudos against his old team. I feel like I've got players that can get points there, irrespective, and it's like I don't think Liverpool will win 6 or 7-0. I think they'll probably get 3 or 4, but I don't think that's worth losing the plot over. I think the problem I've had so far is that I have been a bit reactionary and a bit panicky, and I feel like now maybe it's time to slow it down. Just go with what I've had. Go with what I've got for a week or two and build up the transfers and properly reassess the lay of the land.
I think you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And I think 3 or 4 goals is a bit optimistic for Liverpool, to be honest. The way at Burnley, looking at their previous results against them, it's normally only 2 goals, but we shall see.
Okay, all right. Let's move on to what everyone is here to see. We've been keeping a keen eye on Trig Ellipse's wildcard over the international break. So Trigger's got. We've already looked at it, but we'll go for it in full now. So Sanchez in goal. Say the name for me, Trig.
Lacroix.
Lacroix. We love the way he says it. Home to Sunderland. Virgil away to Burnley. Anderson, Darius' favourite pick, at home to Leeds. Fernandes, Reinders in midfield against each other. Salah against Burnley. Salah against Burnley, Wirtz versus Burnley, and then up front, Mateta, João Pedro, and Gyökeres with Dubravka, Dewsbury Hall, Senesi, and Rondon on the bench. This does surprise me, because you're ranked 3 or 4 million above me, and you are essentially wildcarding into my midfield and forward line, which gives me some
I
confidence.
I don't want you catching up.
Talk through it, mate. Talk through it.
Well, when I pressed the button, I had like Strand Larsen, Gooey, and Palace midfielder, and quite a few other issues. I pressed the button, and originally I was kind of playing quite a kind of aggressive wildcard. As the week's gone on, it's become a bit more kind of mainstream. I mean, we're talking about these DefCon monsters, but my defense is pretty solid, I think. And I don't see I'm going to need to change any of those for a long time. And I'm happy keeping Sanchez and Dubravka. If the Leeds keeper is injured for a long time, I might actually take Sanchez out and go with 4 millions in goalkeepers. I'm happy with the defense.
You text me the other night, didn't you? The Leeds goalkeeper is the key to your wild card, and I said like
he could be, but I don't really need him. I mean, I look at money and I think, who would I have in this team if I had more money? And I honestly, it's difficult to find anybody, because the problem is, like, say Dewsbury Hall, if I upgrade him, it means I have to bench the likes of Reinders, and it causes problems in itself. So until Cole Palmer can prove to me that he deserves a place in this team, but I don't really need any more money. I mean, the defense is great. Fernandez, I think, is one of the best picks in the game. Whoever he's playing, he's going to do well. You know, whether he's playing as a 6 or an 8, he's going to do well. My screen went black then. I don't know what's happening. Can you still hear me?
Darius has gone.
Oh, okay. So Wirtz is the interesting one, because he's the one I'm thinking maybe just go with the Bournemouth midfielder or somebody like that, or Paquetá, one of those. But Wirtz's free kick has got me a bit scared, to be quite truthful. I think, you know, obviously we all had him at the start for a reason, because he is a very good player. And that could be a sign that he's now, confidence is up. Confidence is a huge thing in football. And that free kick, and also having 3 games and then going away to Germany for a bit, might have settled his head down, and we could see the best of Wirtz now when he comes back. And against Burnley, it's the sort of game where he's going to be shredding the passes through and everything. And also in game week 6, look at him trying to rush me. In game week 6,
he's a swine.
I probably will want to get rid of Salah and swap him for Haaland. And I'm thinking, well, I don't want to be without any Liverpool players. So having Wirtz there is quite good. And when I do want Palmer, it will be for Wirtz, because it's not too much more expensive. So I'm thinking this is quite a well-rounded team. The only thing, if I didn't support Chelsea, I probably wouldn't have João Pedro, and I'd have a cheaper third striker. But other than that, no, I don't think I can't fault this. It's taken me 2 weeks to get it, and I've had other players in over the break. I've had all sorts of cheap midfielders in there. But now that what's his face for Man City's injured, I think Reinders is going to be pretty nailed on for a little while, and a huge ownership. And we saw in game week 1 what Reinders can do. Whereas Paquetá and the likes of him, he's never scored more than 100 points in FPL, Paquetá. Never scored more than... Okay, he's good in DefCon now, but that'll only add like another 10 or 15 points, which will put him up to 115. Whereas Reinders, we just don't know the ceiling. So I'm keeping Reinders in there. You all seem to have Reinders. So obviously it's going to hurt me more if I don't have Reinders and he goes off. And I've already built money up in Reinders, so I don't really want to take him out and then have to bring him back at a more expensive price after he's scored a couple of hat tricks, which he probably won't do. But yeah, Gyökeres, another one I'm not. I mean, really, I'd probably better off with Watkins, to be honest, on this wild card. But he's looked absolutely rubbish in the clips I've seen of him. But, striker for Arsenal. Aubameyang cost me a few years ago having him. But strikers at Arsenal are usually good. So
yeah, he's on penalties as well at the minute.
Yeah, he's on penalties. But so's Watkins, I guess, although we don't know that for certain. But I just got a feeling Villa are going to improve now that they've signed Elliott and, not Sancho. He don't make much difference. I want to see Gary's T-shirt. What's on his T-shirt there? That's what I want to know. But anyway, that's my wild card team.
Looks like Santa.
It looks like a Christmas one, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know what he's doing there, fluffing about in his imaginary room. We want to see his real room, don't we? Or what does that say? How old?
Maybe it's on about not making a transfer. Maybe this is the latest clue for the Trigger Lips' Clue series. Hold your team.
Anyway, yeah, so that's my team. It's a mixture of, last season I played my wild card and it got me a rank of 10 million and it was absolutely shocking. So I didn't want to stray too far from my original team, if you know what I mean. I didn't want to kick everybody out just for the sake of it, which is why I've still got the likes of Anderson, Wirtz, Fernandez. I think I've changed 6 players. Basically changed my defence and brought Gyökeres and Mateta in as well, and Lacroix, of course. So, yeah. But I think the team wasn't awful to start with, really. It was just those injuries, Gui, Strand Larsen, a few issues. And I don't rate the wild card as highly as a lot of people do. People think it's a magnificent chip. It's a double-edged sword, the wild card. It can go wrong as well as go right. And I back myself to play well week to week. And I think by game week 13, I won't even need a wild card, which is when everyone's looking at playing it. So why not play it now and get on board with this magnificent DefCon defence?
If the plan is to get Haaland in game week 7, why not start game week 6? Sorry, why not start with, say, Ekitike instead of Gyökeres and Semenyo instead of Wirtz, and then just switch Ekitike to Haaland in game week 6?
Well, it'd be Mateta that makes way for Haaland, and he's got 2 great fixtures now. So
but you could keep him for the longer term. Mateta,
yeah, exactly. So that's what I mean. So I'm not forced to get Haaland. If Haaland's injured or something, or he's crap, he's next to, and I decide I don't even want Haaland, then I'm quite happy with Mateta in there. Whereas Ekitike, his minutes are going to come under pressure with Isaac. So I think Mateta's fine. So there's also the option I have of a free hit in game week 6 as well, which is another potential. I didn't want to book it in by getting too many Arsenal players now and then having to. So I've got my options open, but this team's fine for now. And, as Salah's rubbish, obviously you two are going to be way ahead of us within 2 weeks. And I'm going to end up
wind-up merchant, Trig.
Well, it's true. There's not a chance in rank, but in terms of points, you're not far behind. Two good captains from Haaland and 2 Salah blanks. And suddenly the whole universe has been tipped on its head. So then I want to get Haaland in permanently for Salah. So,
Trig, the opposite narrative is 2 Salah hat-tricks and 2 Haaland blanks, and we're...
well, that's what we're hoping for.
We're looking good, aren't we? We're looking good, mate. Don't exactly. Be the glass is half full, it's half empty.
I did look at having both, but I just couldn't really. I haven't seen a single draft of a wild card that I like as Haaland and Salah. Even that 5 at the back that what's his face did. I can't remember his name now.
Walsh.
The one that he did, I didn't even like that one. He could have had a great 5 at the back. That would have been even better, in my opinion, if he picked only one or Salah or Haaland.
Yeah,
because even then it's tricky.
I think it looks a lot better if you have Palmer over Salah if Palmer's fit, because then you've got a strong bench when you do it that way.
The problem with Palmer is, He
And to
was
be
the
fair, he's
most
been crap for
owned
months.
player. He was the most owned player coming into game week 1, wasn't he? We all had him, despite the fact he hasn't even scored a goal since January. And I think now we've kind of realised that even if Palmer is fit, it doesn't automatically mean we should just bring him back, because he's no longer the be-all and end-all at Chelsea. We saw without him last week, Chelsea quite comfortably won their match last week without Palmer. Maresca's not revolving his team around Palmer anymore. So we don't need to worry too much about Palmer, I think.
So I've just ended the poll. Should Andrew stick to his principles or argument and play 5 at the back? 50-50. 50-50.
Well, with regards to that, what I said in my video was that I don't have the optimal team for the strategy yet, and it's going to take me time to get to it. And perhaps that time is what I need, because perhaps over the next few weeks, this kind of exciting new strategy that will give me the edge, maybe it'll be proved to be a fallacy, which it could do. You know, the genius gutter-mouthed guru that is Walsh may just be selling me the snake oil that sees me fall even further down the totem pole. We just don't know. So maybe that little bit of time to get to the strategy is what I need. But if I had Lacroix and Van Dijk in my squad, I probably would play 5 at the back.
I mean, you look at this week, say Sunderland do score, Burnley score, and Brighton score, all those defenders suddenly blank. And within 1 week, everyone has stopped talking about it, and it'll be all over, won't it? It'll be like old fish and chip paper. So it could easily happen this week. Sunderland can easily score against Palace. And suddenly the 5 at the back looks rubbish, doesn't it? You've got 5-1 sitting there. And all the strikers have gone off and the midfielders have got loads of points. And suddenly it looks like a crap strategy, doesn't it? So you're probably right to wait.
Thanks so much for Napster for gifting 5 channel memberships there. And they have a request. Can you do a review on how all this went on the next international break for all 4 of your teams? Will be great fun. Yes, we will. Well, hopefully we'll all be on. When is the next international break?
I sent you the dates. It's the start of October. Sent
very
you the dates yesterday.
Oh, you know what I'm like in terms of remembering things, man.
So I think the 8th of October is the first pubcast date for the international break.
Yes, you're right.
What's happened, Darius? You're going all quiet.
Oh, no, I just wanted to wait for everyone else to go to town on your team until the real taking the task.
Oh, have you not even done it yet?
Good. No, he hasn't done it yet.
I have not.
I will.
Let's be honest.
Go for it.
A couple of questions.
You're not allowed to mention Anderson.
How much money's in the bank, Trig?
I think it might be 0.
You've got 0. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's go through it step by step. Now, I'm a bit like Andrew. I'm not sure that triple Liverpool is where I would end up this week. I'd actually think I'd just ditch Wirtz in general, because I think you'll find that you'll want to get rid of him probably by game week 6 anyway. So you're saving yourself a transfer by just ditching him and hedging your bets. I also think that I'm very strongly of the belief that the best Liverpool player to own at the moment is actually Cody Gakpo. So I think if you're going to go to a Liverpool player that's not Mo Salah, I'd probably be going with him rather than Wirtz, even Virgil van Dijk. I'm still not sold on that Liverpool defence. I can easily see them conceding again. And Virgil, yeah, I understand. And that's where I look at your defence. Like Lacroix and Senesi, both really good picks. I actually quite like those picks. I would have them both on a wild card as well myself, probably. But the other 3, I wouldn't. Rodon, I just don't think any 4 million defender long term is actually very viable. It definitely won't be wanting to play him. And Virgil and Anderson, as I said, I just don't see the clean sheet potential. And in Anderson's case, there's just no attacking threat and there's just no clean sheets. I still, for the love of me, don't understand that pick. Like, if you wanted someone that does the exact same thing, go and get Van den Berg from Brentford. At least you know they're actually capable of keeping clean sheets. And he's got the DC points in all 3 games. So I don't understand why he wouldn't look at someone else other than Anderson. The other thing I would say, judging from the forward line, this is either regurgitated straight from the Solio website or from the review website, or maybe it's a combination of the both.
Solio boy!
That front line is Gyökeres is not a pick. There's a reason why Gary brought him in last week after the Leeds game, because FPL Review said, let's bring in Gyökeres. It's a great pick. We'll save ourselves a transfer in 4 weeks' time.
I have no idea what he means.
He's done nothing. International break, Gyökeres has looked like a sack of Swedish potatoes that has been left to mature outside in the sun for too long, and they've all been shriveled up. And from what we've seen in him in the league so far, he got a scruffy goal against Leeds and a penalty that was won by someone else. So there's no evidence to suggest he's going to score any more than at max 15 goals, and probably half of them are going to be penalties because his...
Whoa. 15 goals isn't bad. 15 goals isn't bad.
Yeah, but it's not fabulous either. I mean, Haaland in comparison's already got 3 goals. And
I think that's a flaw as well, 15.
João
Pedro's not... The models don't like João Pedro.
Trig, you did say earlier on... You said literally earlier on yourself you thought Gyökeres looked terrible.
Yeah, he did. I know. I agree. He has. He's got to be better than that, though. He's got to be better than that.
So any chance you might take him out?
Well, I like Watkins. I do like Watkins. If Watkins were to drop in price again before the deadline, then I might switch to Watkins. But I don't want to have a player that's going to drop in price the same day I bring him in. Do you know what I mean? Bring him in and immediately lose money. So that puts me off him. So Wirtz is a bit of an issue there too. And yeah, Wirtz I'm like not sure about either. It's more a defensive move.
Quick, how many of these would you say are locked in for Saturday morning?
Nearly all of them. Defence is all locked in. Sanchez could become a Leeds keeper if the Leeds keeper's out until January. And other than that, it'll probably be a mistake anyway, I suspect, because I think Sanchez will probably get a lot more points than having a Leeds and a Burnley goalkeeper. But Fernandes will be going nowhere. Reinders will be going nowhere in the next few weeks. Salah possibly in game week 6. Wirtz could become Palmer. But it's unlikely to change. Can't see the forward line changing.
Dewsbury, Hall and Reindeers. I want to talk about those two because obviously combined, I think they're costing you 10.7 mil. Did you have Reindeers before Wildcard or not?
Yeah, I bought Reinders at 5.5.
Okay, all right. So okay, yep. Because I did wonder about that. So I think if I was wildcarding, and I know you guys had a look at it on Saturday, whereas I don't really rate having Reindeers and Dewsbury Hall. I think potentially if I was wildcarding, I was going for 2 cheaper assets like that. I think I would probably end up on Paqueta. I understand your reasons behind why you wouldn't do it, but there's no European football to contend with. He's not going to get rotated. There's every chance that Reindeers gets rotated with Pep Roulette and the Champions League starting. And then Dewsbury Hall, I think if there was a way of navigating some other funds in your squad, potentially Wirtz out for like Gakpo, for example, as an instance of freeing up this money, I think I'd actually like a Dewsbury Hall up to like a Harvey Elliott play and for an extra 0.4 mil. Just because of the fact that I think Aston Villa's fixtures the next 4 are really good and you've got no coverage at all.
I did have Paqueta and King instead of these two for a while, for a few days. And that's an interesting one as well because Paqueta, he could do better than Reinders. Like he's going to play every week in West Ham's team, like you say, and not going to be rotated. I was a bit worried that King could be replaced shortly because Fulham has signed those new wingers.
I'll be worried.
Yeah, I think that's an equally viable option, to be quite honest with you. Equally viable, but I don't think we know the ceiling on Reinders yet.
Lads,
I don't know the ceiling. He was fantastic in game week 1, but
lads, I'm going to cut in because we've been going for nearly 2 hours now. Do we even have time for a Q&A?
Yeah, of course we do.
Yeah, why not?
All right. Well, we'll do one for. I need to go to bed soon. I've got to be up at 5 a.m. in the morning. But we'll do what we'll do. We'll do a quick one. I will make a marker. Napster asks, "What about Bowen in your wild card, Trig?" I think that's what they're asking.
No, I'm not a fan of Bowen. I think he's a midfielder at heart, and he's getting less points than he did last season. I mean, he does okay though, doesn't he? But
he did get the
he's 8 million as well, isn't he? He's more expensive than those 7.5 options. And who would he replace? Gyökeres, I suppose.
I think that long term, Bowen will actually be better than João Pedro and Mateta, purely based on the fact that there's going to be more risk of them getting injured with the more games in the European football and the rotation, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas Bowen, again, will be playing once a week. And I think I actually sit there and look at my team, and if I could go back and change one thing from the -4 I took last game week, I would actually have got rid of Watkins instead of Bowen, not because Bowen just returned in that last game week, but because moving forward, I think I'd rather have Bowen in my team, who I know is a guaranteed starter every single week. And as we saw, and as I predicted, if he scores a goal, he's going to get 3 bonus, which is exactly what happened. Whereas last year in the midfield, he would have scored and probably got no bonus. We already saw that pay off in game week 3. And I think potentially he's still going to get like 25 attacking returns this season, Jared Bowen, which is what he averages every season. And he's guaranteed to play literally 90 minutes every single week. Whereas the other players in attack, like João Pedro even and Mateta, they are going to be coming off, and European football is going to mean we see leggy performances on the weekend at times during the season, and potentially, as I said, more risk of injury because of the more minutes. I just think that people are going to see this at about maybe the next international break, and all of a sudden the likes of Jared Bowen and players that aren't in Europe, your Bruno Fernandes, whatever, they're going to become super popular because they are resting during the midweek, whereas other players are going out and playing another 90 minutes.
Lads, I'm going to come to you with one question each now, right? It's just one person answer it, please. Because I don't know, Andrew, are you all right to go for a few more minutes? Or
Yeah.
You're right. All right. Okay, all right. Andrew, question. I have Haaland and Salah. Who shall I captain from FPL Hippie?
Haaland.
I like it. That was nice. Straight to the point. David Ferrin, Trig, to you. No Semenyo on your wildcard?
It's a toss-up between Semenyo and Wirtz, to be quite honest. That's where I've been weighing up, and I think I'm going to go with Wirtz.
That one game.
So I'd be more annoyed if Wirtz scores than I would if Semenyo scores, and I don't own them, I think.
Darius, Comas, Iwobi or Emil Smith-Rowe are the only 2 who could come in for King. I think Iwobi will be more likely to come in for Burke. I think he may have made that to the chat rather than to us. Unless you've got any thoughts on it.
I think that it's going to be interesting. There's been talk about like Iwobi coming in for King, et cetera, et cetera. I think that Kevin looks like a really good player from what I can see. And the other bloke that came in from, I think, AC Milan to Wampsia, I butchered his name. I butcher everyone's names, let's be honest. But I think they're both going to end up playing as wingers for Fulham, I would suggest, which means that there's going to be a squeeze somewhere. So I think Trig's right to probably take King out until we see how the dust settles there, because, I mean, he is the youngest and potentially his place is, a little bit in jeopardy.
Beautiful goal, though.
He's very good.
Yeah. Oh, that goal should have stood. Let's be honest. That was a goal all day long. VAR cocked it up, and I'm glad they came out and admitted it. But can they stop just giving stupid decisions? If it's not a clear and obvious error, why the hell are they getting involved? There have been so many instances already this season through 3 game weeks where VAR was not needed. It was below the high bar that apparently is meant to exist, and they're coming in with nonsense decisions like that. It's to rule goals out for nonsense like that is unbelievably bad. That guy should never be on VAR again. If you're making errors like that, stay in your lane or piss off and sack him.
Fantasticks asks. This one's for you, Andrew. Bench 1, Senesi or Anderson?
I'd start Senesi. He's got greater potential in defence and attack.
See, Andrew is a true professional. He knows how to do this quick answer thing.
That black box trading.
It's that black box training, yeah. Napsters asks, Darius, Chelsea question. No, actually, we'll do this on the Trig because he's a Chelsea fan. Reece James, minutes, Premier League versus UCL. Not in my team, but love him as a player.
I don't think he's going to play both. We're going to see Gusto playing one and James playing the other. We don't know which one's which, though. We don't know which one's going to be playing in Europe. Last season, Maresca had a very specific European side and a different team for the Premier League. Whether he's going to be mixing and matching, or we don't know yet. But I do know one thing: when Gusto's playing, it's much better for Parma than when James is playing. So, but James is brilliant, obviously, as the New England manager knows. But I can't see him playing twice a week.
Darius, your brief thoughts on Xavi Simons, the new Tottenham signing?
I think if there was a Spurs asset I was buying this week, I'd be buying him. I'd be taking the plunge straight off the bat.
I like him. Harry Dawson, captain.
He doesn't take free kicks.
Harry,
sure?
Harry Dawson says, captain, Gakpo, Mateta or Munoz? Andrew?
For me,
yeah, go on, mate.
You've missed out a couple of questions.
I know,
there.
I'll go back to them.
I would captain Gakpo.
Is there one you want to answer, Andrew?
Just on the best defenders, I was getting myself set up for the best defenders.
Come on, mate. Tell us your best defenders.
Well, the best defenders for the game week depends on how many you wish to play, but I'd probably rank them as Munoz, Van Dijk, Lacroix, Livramento, and AC.
Nice one. Right,
from first to fifth.
Last question we're going to take is from FPL Hippie. Do follow him on Blue Sky. Will you guys be playing Fantasy UCL? I do believe there's been some... he's been trying to get you to make UCL content. Is that right, Andrew? My answer is no, I will not be playing it.
I am far too busy playing the Elite Serie Norwegian Premier Fantasy game. And you think I've had a bad season in the FPL. I had about 8 players missing because of cancelled games, and I was meant to play my free hit and I completely forgot to do it. So I ended up with about 3 players playing the other week. So that's been even worse than the FPL. But I'm doing all right. I'm quite enjoying it, although I don't know anybody in the game apart from Casper Hock.
Oh, you really are playing? I thought you were joking.
No, I am playing it. Yeah,
right.
Casper Hock of Bordeaux Glimt is scoring pretty much every week. I'm surprised no team has come in for him, even if it's from the Championship. I would have thought somebody might have taken a bit of a gamble on Casper Hock, but I mean, he is like the Haaland of the Elite Serie, really.
Greg, would you?
Absolutely nothing to do with what we've been talking about.
Greg, are you playing UCL Fantasy? Any content if you are?
I will be playing it. I don't plan on doing any content. I haven't even made a team yet, but I will be going and putting one together. I normally just pick a pretty generic team and then start looking into it once it's started, because I probably should put some effort into it actually and try and make a good team. Apparently the strategy is just to pick the players that are playing the really rubbishy teams, I think, isn't it? There's so much rotation in that though, isn't there?
Who can we give shouts out to who's been on the channel that do Champions League FPL content? MV, yeah. Does Fran do it? I think Fran might do it as well.
No idea.
I'm not sure, yeah. I think Tom does. FPL Tom does as well. Darius, any plans to play UCL Fantasy or to make any content on it if you are?
Look, my levels of interest in the Champions League without Man United in it, I won't lie, have significantly dropped. However, I've never actually played UCL Fantasy before. The other day I downloaded the app and I've created a team, and I think I'm actually going to sit there and make a video on the Champions League once every week
Cool.
with my team and just see how well I can go without watching any games in the Champions League and see whether my AI-based algorithmic brain can actually do better than actually just watching the games.
All
I'm
right.
literally just going to base it off stats and how I feel and just hope for the best.
Basically, I play FPL then.
Yeah, well, except I won't be using a review. I'll be using just what I can read.
F Bobby, we're getting a few mentions. I've never heard of FF Bobby. Apparently, he's good for Champions League content. All right, so just to finish up, please join myself, Trig, and Darius. You're coming on this week, aren't you, mate? For the FPL lock-in at 8 p.m. on Saturday. We will be, unfortunately, the next 3 weeks going at the same time as a game, but we will be keeping an eye on the game as we go. Please do join the Pubcast Mini League. The league code is S3DHWZ. That's S3DHWZ. And there's also a link in the description, which will, if you click on it, will sign you up automatically. Please do like the video. It really helps the FPL algorithm to get it out there. Please do subscribe if you're new around here and join if you want to check out channel memberships. Lads, can you tell us briefly where we can find you, which I always do at the end of the stream before I finish?
You can find me at FPL Nightmare. It's on the screen just about here. Come along. I do videos and sometimes streams and reaction videos, and they're all very good, and you'll have a lot of fun. And it'd be nice to have you along. I respond to every comment I get, so I do like a good conversation.
You get loads of comments, don't you? I was looking at your video the other day. I've never seen so many comments per view. You're muted, mate.
It's because I interact with people and respond to them, and you get a conversation going. Like, awesome. I'm not one of those big name content creators who just like respond for an hour and then like forget about everyone. No, I respond all the time to every comment because I am desperate to maintain a supporter base and make people feel as special as they make me feel.
Awesome. Trig?
I'm exactly the same. I respond to every single comment that I get. And
we can find you where?
For the people, my channel, for the people. And like Andrew said, I'm not one of these ones who just ignores all the comments. And, you know, I'm there for you guys. And you can find me where it says on the screen, basically. And that's about it. I haven't done anything this week because I've run out of things to talk about, which is quite unusual for me. I mean, I've done 2 or 3 on my wildcard already, and it really hasn't changed. So until we start getting some team news, I will do some, walking video. I should go to the wildlife park. So I was going to go to the wildlife park and ask all the animals because the parrot's cousin lives there.
That'd be brilliant.
I was going to go and see what the parrot's cousin had to say about my wildcard team. But the parrot's team also needs to make a few transfers as well, I think. Hasn't made one all season yet.
Darius.
But yeah, I'll try and do a video before the end of the week.
Where can we find you, mate?
Oh, you can find me obviously at FPLD_unit on X and on YouTube. Trig, I think you should definitely do another video, and just do. I want to see you pick an actual team without looking at solely on review, and then compare that to your wildcard draft you've got now. That would make for a very good video.
I'll tell you what's funny, right? I spent 2 weeks making my team. And yesterday I went on to review and saw it picked the exact same defense as I've picked. And that was honestly, I didn't even look at it. But Senesi, Lacroix, all of them, they're at the top for a reason. And, if review wants to copy me, that's all well and good. But
it does happen.
I did not. It annoyed me when I saw that it had picked the same defenders as I picked. but there's a reason for it, I guess. But you will not find on Solio or anywhere else João Pedro in anyone's team.
Because Solio started actually taking into account when players are injured yet. He wasn't doing that in game week 1.
It has reduced minutes for likes of Palmer and all those players that are doubts and that, I think. There was a good video from Solio out this morning. You should go and look at that. Praz and one of them's on a wild card. And it's, of course, it's completely different from mine.
I looked at it briefly.
All
right.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, so much for watching. I will briefly say it again. This charity is for stream. This stream is for charity, not this charity is for stream. Mind and Streetcard United, please, if you enjoyed the stream, do consider going to their websites and donating to them. You can find a link to their websites in the description below. If you want to leave a super thanks, we will also send the money to them.
I would also, if I can just interrupt, I'd also just say it is World Mental Health Awareness Day today. So if you are affected by these issues, then, please consider donating to mine specifically tonight. And also, if you are struggling, just ring the Samaritans on 116123. That's 116123, and they will be able to offer you a friendly ear to help you through the night.
Yeah, and that's from a man who worked for the Samaritans for quite a long time, isn't it, Andrew? Yes, thank you, everyone, and we will be back next Wednesday. Not even sure who we're going to have on next week, but Darius and Trig are here, I think, and we will try and maybe get another special guest on. Cheers, everyone.